Hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, work. There you go.
Forward!
Hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, work. There you go.
Forward!
Hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, work. There you go.
Forward!
Hard work, hard work, hard work.
Fall in.
So what's good? What's good, everyone? What's going on out there? Y'all know what it is. It's me, your boy Trey, and you're rocking with your favorite vets on the net. First Formation Morning Sports Talk. So go ahead, come on, fall in, get to it early in the morning. Let's get into some things. I know I was a little absent after the holiday, of course. Like I said, usually always got something going on, a couple of appointments here and there as I get reinstituted, back into the situation. New place, new face. So I'm trying to get acclimated to my environment. So in any case, still here for the most part, ain't going nowhere. So um, pardon me. Still also planning to get together, planning so I can come back with a bunch of new and different content. So a lot going on in sports in general when you look at it, good, bad, and indifferent. uh, Action going on in college football. Of course, we know the CFP is right around the corner. The bowl games are right around the corner as we get ready to get into the thick of that in the college football. Basically, this is the last week for the season for the most part, even for those who are already ended their season. For the most part, they're waiting to see when or where they get a bowl bid as the last couple of games get start to play out. As we know, last night was the last day for the regular portion, the first portion of the NBA in season tournament as they get ready in a couple of days to get started and push forward with the knockout round, quarterfinals, and then of course the championship. We'll get on that and talk about that a little bit. In NFL, of course, another it's been going down. We just had the first Friday night football game, NFL football game on Prime just last week. Of course, he had the Thursday games for Thanksgiving, followed up with Sunday games. So now we get into the part of the season where we're going to see some Saturday games. Of course, the in-state, just I think about 5 games left on the year. So it's about to get really thick as we have a couple of games that's coming up in which we might just speak about. I'm not going to really sit up and give my prediction as though we know one of them is what one is. Of course, we know the Eagles and 49ers will be facing off this weekend. I already got with my man Bishop. We got a little something going on. Hopefully, Bang Bang Diner Game comes out victorious so I don't have to pay that price. But a lot going on. We just had a couple of we got some huge boxing events coming up down the line. Some super, I guess I ain't gonna say super bouts, but you got some that's definitely got some notoriety. So of course, first and foremost, uh going into it, let's start off with the amateurism, or what's supposed to be the amateurism portion of uh, the sport, which that is college football. College basketball is banging going forward, so we're going to definitely, as that continues to phase out the college football, we're going to get into basketball. But right now, it's about the football. So for the most part, as I was saying, the season's done already. But of course, we have the onesies and twosies that are coming up as of course all the conferences for the most part have to go ahead and play it out so that way we can determine and see who is going to be in these bowls coming up. It's a total of 42 bowls. Of course, we know the main one are the top semifinal bowls, and then of course the championship game. As if you're in the Houston area, the championship game, CFP college football playoff championship will be played in Houston this year, so that's right around the corner. But in state, right? Some easy games when it comes out to it. So of course, unfortunately, I was definitely thinking or looking at the possibility of two teams being in the college football playoff top four, but unfortunately, that's a possibility that won't be able to happen. Why is that, Trey? You ask? Because number 5 Oregon and number 3 Washington will be facing off against each other in the Pac-12 championship game, in which most likely is going to drop one out of contention due to the fact that Washington is currently a number 3 team, and then Oregon is number 5. Now, however, in the words of my man Bishop, if he was on, what we do have is what we possibly could have, depending on the level of competition that is displayed in this game between Oregon, the Ducks, and the Huskies. And what you could potentially get is a situation to where, due to that competition, how that game is played, and according and possibly what goes on with Michigan, it could be a situation to where, as well as the possibility of Alabama blowing past Georgia for the most part, you could have a situation to maybe the committee decides Oregon and Washington are deserving of an opportunity to potentially meet up against one another again and put them in. So you can almost guarantee that even one, Washington will stay in the stay as a CFP contender, and Oregon, if they beat Oregon, if it's a close game, depending on what happens with Michigan and Atlanta, Georgia, maybe we do get a 2 Pac-12 teams in the CFP playoff series. Possibly. If Oregon is able to take care of business and take out Washington, then we almost can guarantee that Oregon is going to move up into the top 4. Washington is going to most likely fall out, unless, like I said, depending on what's going on. But in any case, top 25 teams, the conference schedules, of course, that's going on. New Mexico State will be facing off against Liberty. Liberty currently at number 24, one of few undefeated teams that are out there. Oklahoma State and Texas will be meeting up. 7th ranked Texas, don't want to disrespect them. They will be meeting up to compete for the Big 12 championship. So Texas currently at number 7. They're trying to keep their hope alive, punching the ticket to potentially get back into the game, into the CFP, depending upon what happens with everyone else. Boise State and UNLV will be playing this weekend. SMU will be traveling to 22nd ranked Tulane as they get ready to mix it up. 14th ranked Louisville will be taking on 4th ranked Florida State for the ACC conference title. Another situation to where it can really get dicey if a said number 4 Florida State falls to the 14th ranked Louisville. As we know, Louisville was a 10th ranked team before they end up taking the L this past weekend. But now they are in the ACC's championship game. Anything can go. We know Travis is not with Florida State, but Florida State did just show up against Florida. But can Louisville basically pay back Florida State with what was done to them just this past week and taking them out the top 10? And now potentially opportunity to take Florida State out the top 4, which opens the door for a plethora of teams pending what goes on. As we know, Michigan was able to dispatch Ohio State this past weekend in the big game, in their big game. Now Michigan will have an opportunity to win the Big Ten titles versus Iowa, 16th ranked Iowa. So that's going to be crazy. We're going to see what happens if, let's say, Iowa is able to take care of business and knock off Michigan. What can go down if you have a situation to where Louisville beats Florida, Michigan loses to Iowa, Oregon handles Washington, and of course, Alabama faces off against Georgia and takes care and knocks off Georgia. What if all top 4 teams were to take a L? What will we have then? It's the craziest of scenarios, I suppose, but it's a possibility. I wouldn't sit up and take it off. I'm very sure number 8 ranked Alabama has an opportunity to take out number 1 Georgia. Georgia has been a little shaky against certain teams in which we definitely know they should have beaten or handily beaten, but they kind of moved along. So those teams are still out there. I mean, so now you have an Alabama team with 1 loss that failed to Texas earlier in the year, have made their way back up to number 8, and now are put themselves in position to potentially knock off a Georgia team that has been shaky here and there. Or Georgia may have it all, everything that they want, give it to them and send them home packing. Of course, Iowa is one of those teams that's looked at. Michigan will have Coach Harbaugh back after he has served his 3-game suspension for supposedly cheating, stealing hand signs, having employees at games, supposedly, allegedly, to where he served the 3-game suspension. That's been a total of 7 games in which University of Michigan's head coach Harbaugh has served for this season. 7 of 12 games. That has to be a conversation in which Michigan, I'm very sure, is having their institution losing their head coach 7 of the 12 games in which they played. But in state, evidently, it was even right timing, or Michigan is just that potent when you look at it, because yet again, they're undefeated the whole year. They've been undefeated. So I guess it's something right going on in New Michigan. So of course, those games are going to lead up to what should be Selection Sunday, in which we get a chance to see who is going to be going to what bowl. We already know the CFP set that's going to determine who's going to play in the 2 games and then play the championship game after that's all being said. As we know, last year it was a hellacious game between TCU and Michigan, as well as Ohio State and in Georgia. When you look at it, it was 2 pretty good semifinal games, but then the final game was a massacre. TCU just showed that TCU was not ready and was not able to compete with Georgia. Now Georgia is looking at an opportunity to not 1, not 2, but 3-peat as a college football champion. Is that going to be possible? I know the last time it was possible, USC was up for it and got taken care of by, of course, then Vince Young and the University of Texas Longhorns. Here we are again with staring down that barrel where it has a possibility for Georgia to 3-peat, in which initially I thought wasn't going to be possible, especially with everything they lost last year in free aid to the NFL and players in portals and everything like that. So it'll be interesting. I'm ready to see how it potentially is going to end up working out or playing out as this year, as the tournament comes closer and closer. We'll see, will they be victorious, or will Alabama take care of business? Maybe not Georgia off to where they don't even get a chance to see the CFP. If Alabama was to win, I don't think it will put them in the top 4. I think it'll definitely continue to have them at a New Year's Six bowl. Georgia may drop out the top 4. As you look, Ohio State dropped from number 2 to number 6 with their loss to Michigan, and it was a close game. Will we see a similar trajectory if Alabama is able to take care of business and knock off Georgia? Do we see 4 games and 4 games drop will put them at number 5? Do we see will they go to number 5? Maybe Alabama moves up to number 6 or number 5. Georgia drops to 6. Ohio State drops because they can't potentially get in with no game, I don't think. So it's going to be crazy. Is from my standpoint when I look at it and see all this getting ready to go down. Of course, when you look at it, the new college football standings, of course, Kansas State 20 at 8-4 are ranked 25. As I said, Liberty, one of few teams that are still undefeated. The Liberty come in at 24 with the 12-0 record. 23rd ranked Clemson's 8-4. Tulane, one loss on the year. They come in at number 22. Tennessee comes in at 21. Oregon State at 20. North Carolina State at 19. Oklahoma State at 18. Notre Dame still around at 93 at number 17. At number 16, Iowa. The Arizona Wildcats made a case. They're currently the 15th ranked team. 14th for Louisville. LSU comes in at 13. University of Oklahoma at 12, of course, taking two tough losses back to back unexpectedly, but they're still in the thick of it for the most part. Mississippi comes in at 11, at 10, Penn State, Missouri at 9, Alabama 8, 7 is Texas at stated before, Ohio State at 6. Then, of course, 5 is Oregon, and then, as we know, the top 4 being Florida State, Washington, Michigan, and Georgia, the other unranked teams. So a total of 5 unranked teams currently in the CFP rankings as it goes. And like I said, anything could potentially happen. Unfortunate situation for my lovely USC Trojans as they just fell from grace further and further and further, losing their last 4 games. All ranked opponents as it got closer and closer. So what we thought would have been a great exit did not end up going as well. The Trojans just wasn't, I guess they wasn't ready in state when it came out to it. It was definitely a huge fall from grace as we initially thought they were going to be ready to play, finishing the season on a 4-game, not even a 4-game lose streak. They was 1-5 in the last 1-4 in their last 5 games. Correction, 1-6, 1-5 in their last 6 games, taking L's to every ranked opponent that they faced down the stretch, and almost losing to Cal in as it was all when it was all said and done. As they took Cal to a 50-49 game, it was ridiculous. Of course, they took a 48-20 loss to the then ranked 21 ranked Notre Dame, who is currently 17th ranked. Then they took an L to then ranked 14th ranked Utah, losing by 2 points. Currently, Utah is no longer ranked, just like the Trojans. Almost lost to the University of Cal by the score of 50-49. And then ran the gauntlet, had a little reprieve, and then ended up getting slaughtered by Washington by the score of 42-52. They was ranked number 5 then. Lost to 6th ranked Oregon 36-27, and then turned around in across city, not even city, up highway rival in UCLA, who was ranked at that, who was then ranked then, ends up losing to them 38-20. 5 losses in the last 6 games. Definitely a fall from grace. Potentially, maybe Caleb Williams comes back next year. Maybe USC will be able to put together more of a potent offense. I think more so the problems lied in their defense and why they couldn't make things happen. It just didn't pan out. But of course, it's football. That's going to happen. You win some, you lose some. You get an opportunity to play again. And so we'll see, I guess, towards the end of the year, what Caleb Williams, last year's Heisman Trophy decision will be. Will he come back? We do know this year he will not be a Heisman hopeful after those 5 losses. He's not going to be in play. But yeah, we have players like Daniels from LSU, Penix from Washington, so it's Harrison maybe from Ohio State. So potentially a multitude or a good diversity of positions to be in competition for that coveted Heisman Trophy this year. Maybe Washington gets a hopeful out of in Penix Jr. as he has basically continued to make his way up the chart as for Heisman hopeful. So hopefully, the young man gets the opportunity to sit there and be a part of that, and maybe even etch his way into that that group of the Heisman fraternity. Uh, so basically, at this point, we're just 4 days away from getting to see who's going to be in what bowls, so you can determine who you're going to go check out during the bowl season. Of course, I'm waiting. I know it's not going to happen. If it happens, it'll be so fortunate. I thought at minimum I was going to get a chance to sit up and see Oklahoma. What's going on, my brother? What's going on? Stanton, glad to have your formation with us, man. Hope everything's going well. Surgery and all. I know you're still recovering. Although you said you felt well after the fact. So glad to have you here, bro. Glad to see you. But yes, I did think initially that I was going to get a chance to see Oklahoma versus USC this year, but I don't think that's going to be possible. Although USC is a bowl eligible team, however, they're not looking too good for a nice bowl or anything like that. With what's that 7-5 record basically, and then losing to top tier. Some people are probably going to determine I don't want to bring them in. I don't want to invite them. They're not a huge pool, but then others might be like, you know what? They have last year's Heisman Trophy winner. This could potentially be his last game. Hey, why not bring them in so they can entertain our constituents? So that's all I have for the most part when it comes to college. This weekend, I'm very sure eyes are going to be on that Georgia-Alabama game. Definitely on the Washington versus Oregon game, which might be the biggest pool for the most part as they wait to see. I'm very sure Florida State and Louisville is going to get a pool, especially for those teams and those putting basically, and maybe not so much. I mean, I'm very sure, of course, Iowa and Michigan, basically based on the fact that all 4 of those games are has implications for the top 4. But the hugest game I undoubtedly believe will be that of the Oregon Ducks traveling to University of Washington, all on the Pacific Northwest coast and competing. So go ahead, be sure to lock in this weekend and catch those games on Saturday morning, Saturday evening, and see who's going to be where it's going down or how it's going down. So, of course, as I walk with my man, the people's coach, Cornelius Cole. What's going on, Cornelius? What's going on, bro? How you doing this morning?
What's up with it? You got it. You got it.
I was just up and going over the talking about the what it's looking like for the CFP this year.
Man, right off the rip, Michigan. I was looking for Michigan to go down, but Michigan looked like they're gonna be that team. You know, I felt some kind of way about them cheating, like most people. But man, but they look like they can play. Like you know. So
I was just saying that where they without 7 to 12 games without their head coach, and they won all 7 games, including a battle against a rival that was a top 3 CFP implication. They, like you said, they can play.
Well, Iowa. Hopefully, Iowa could do something about it, but I doubt it. In the Big Ten championship game, and what about that Pac-12? You know what I'm saying. What about the Pac-12?
So as we talked about a swan song, you know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, I just thought the characters would be different in this swan in this exit. I definitely thought USC was prime, but I'm not going to even hold you. As I watched the USC Trojans play, I see more and more how it was like I mean, the scapegoat it's always a storm. I mean, it's always a calm before the storm, right? So, and then the storm started brewing. And then, of course, what do? Usually someone else gets the blame outside of the head coach. So in this particular case, it ends up being the defensive coordinator at the time, branch in which he got the blame for it. He got axed, and but USC hasn't won a game since he got fired. So it's like, okay,
it's the team right now. I told you earlier, man, they couldn't tackle. And for me, it's just that simple. Like, when you can't tackle, you can't call a defense. What defensive coordinator can do anything with dudes that can't tackle? You know, like, I can put you in the right spots, but if you even in the right spots, you can't tackle. Like, so it messes up your whole defense. What defenses can I run? You can't even run complicated schemes if you can't do the basics. So, but I with that being said, I think USC, they'll be a better team next year in the Big Ten, because sometimes the level of competition raises, raises the bar for you. So they have no choice but to come in and kill it. But I think, and another thing is, their quarterback gets too much light, man. All the hype was about Caleb Williams and not about, Caleb Williams and what's his name, Lincoln Riley, not about the team. So, like, they underperformed this year.
Definitely, without a doubt. Like you said, you got a good point just right there, where you said the level of competition. Now they have an opportunity. They're going to be in the Big Ten. They're competing against the aforementioned Ohio State and Michigan, going to their places to play. Of course, now they get an opportunity to come to the Coliseum, if not regularly, bi-regularly. So that's going to make a difference. Penn State, the Iowa of late. Now they're in the pool to where now the college, which is a double-edged sword, because now the exposure goes to the Big Ten, to where California teams or California prospects are going to be watched and looking and seeing, potentially get an opportunity for them to be added in, to where it's like, now we're in that market. And so, just like they pick and poach, we get the opportunity to pick and poach to see if we can get some of those players to better or make our defense. So we're going to see. I think it's going to be definitely a project, 3 or 4 years before we can really see how USC is going to be able to fare in the Big Ten. Of course, a lot of the division went to the Big Ten. I mean, not the Big Ten. So it's going to be interesting. And some of the better teams in the league conference went to the Big Ten. Yeah. So it's, like taking, I think, Oregon and Washington, Oregon, Washington, USC, UCLA, and who else? I think one more went. Was it did Utah? Did Utah go? Where did Utah go? I can't remember. But for the most part, that's what it is. So it's like, it's going to be the Big Ten is going to definitely, I think, potentially the Big Ten is going to be the new SEC.
I don't know about the new SEC, because the SEC adding Texas and Oklahoma, man, the SEC about to be rough. Which I thought, I don't expect. At some point, I expect Texas A&M got to raise their game up. They've been the most disappointing team since they moved to the SEC. Well, they was never really that tough in the Big 12, but they played better than what, in my opinion, than what they've been playing. And they fired their coach. They got rid of their coach.
And they got a new one quick. $7 million
so we'll have to see.
A year. Yeah.
But my biggest disappointment, USC and Colorado, man. I expected more from Deion.
So
I'm one of those that expected more, at least a bowl game this first year. I mean, you got time to do it, but I at least expected a bowl game, man.
So this is what I say, and I continue to say it, and I had to kind of like fall back from what I was saying, because it was sounding like hate, and it never was hate, right? But it's just some things in which I sit up and look at it, and when you look at the whole Colorado and Deion and all that type of stuff, I understand. As people of color, Black people, and all that type of stuff, we stand up for those that we see competing. We always want to see our own win, because at times it feels like it's us against the world type stuff, right? However, you have to continue to look at it. From me, I guess from my standpoint, is you have to continue to look at it and don't put those glasses on, right? Because that's going to be prevalent. That's always going to be there. We're always going to put on. So I have to kind of like quail and not sound like I'm quote unquote can be what they say, Uncle Tom or something, Uncle Tomish or something like this, because I just look at it like, you got to look at it what is worth. I still at this point don't know and understand what it is that Coach Deion, what's his staple currently. They came out and the people continue to talk about how he took a 1-11 team and turned it around. He did not take a 1-11 team and turn it around. It was not the same team that Colorado played with last year. It was a whole different team. It was a whole different squad. So all he did was set, in my opinion, he set a precedence going forth that, okay, we can win 4 games, and now we have games to build on. He took a program that was 1-4 previously, brought in some new talent, was able to move that needle from 1 to 4, and now he has an opportunity to build on that, which you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? All the greats, glitz and grander came in. We got to look at who he is, understandably. You know what I'm saying? He came in with a platform. He built his platform. He built the platform at the institution. Brung in probably some sponsors, was able to make it to where they could pay him. Now, in my opinion, is where it really starts, because now we see, okay, this is what you can do. What's going to be your next? What's the sequel looking like?
Well, the sequel is going to be bad because he already gave, like, for me, like, it was too much light on the program as far as all the outsiders. I mean, I don't know too many people that throw parties in their locker room before and after the game. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you know what I'm saying? Hollywood type stuff.
But too many. But in the locker room, though, like on the sideline, I feel it. But in the locker room, just too much of a party in the locker room. You also got to think they also in Colorado. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of different things to affect a young man out there in Colorado when you're going to play ball. The distractions, I mean. But it's no different than being in Cali or nowhere. But what I look at the most about the whole Deion thing is I think he's gonna be a good coach, and I think he's good for. I think he's gonna be good for Colorado, that area specifically. But he gave bad advice to his kids already, man. I mean, it's Shedeur already talking about come back. No, Shedeur, if you can go to the pros, go to the pros, because they gonna hurt you out there. You don't have no offensive line. You running for your life. No, dude, you're gonna be broke up before you make it. You know,
Are you saying that right now at this point, Shedeur Sanders is a NFL player? I'm not going to even say give him a drafted NFL player. He's an NFL player, you think, right now?
He's an NFL player. I think he can go. I think, man, if Zach Wilson can start, I'm just gonna put that out there. If Zach Wilson can start in any capacity, if Mac Jones can start, which is that's a story. Hopefully, we get to talk to that later. But if Mac Jones can start, I'm just saying, Shedeur, you got a chance, man. You got a big chance.
I was gonna say something, but you know what? If you put it like that, I can rock with you. I can sit up and be like, you know what? Word, say less. Because I was about to ask you this other question, but when you talk about Mac Jones, Bill Zappi,
right,
Joshua Dobbs, like, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, all these type of stuff. So, I preface this question. In your opinion, where do you think is right now would be best for a Shedeur Sanders at this point?
Shedeur, man, he'll look good as a New York Giant. I know the Giant fans don't want to hear that, but Danny Dimes ain't gonna be that guy long term. He's a young guy, and even if he sit 1 year behind Daniel Jones, you still in good shape because you don't owe him a lot of money right off the rip, right? You know, but I think the Giants would be a good fit. Even being drafted by the Jets and sitting a year under Aaron Rodgers, get that tutelage under Aaron Rodgers. I think that's a good move. And another team, Tampa Bay, man. I think Tampa would be a real good fit. Because if Tampa don't do anything about their situation, they're going to lose that whole, you know, they receiving core and all that. So they need a quarterback. Tampa window for Super Bowls is closing. I think if they got a Shedeur or something, man, they might be tough in that weak division. You know what I'm saying? So I look at that right there. I don't look at them Patriots, no, but those three teams right there, yeah, I think he'll be a good fit with them.
Okay. We're using that to go. We can get into the NFL. A couple of things, of course.
Hold on before you transition first.
Yes.
That Georgia and Alabama game is gonna be crazy, man. How lucky is Alabama? That Auburn game, man. Auburn had one job. Auburn had that game won. They blew the game twice in the end, and then on fourth and forever, you let them throw the. How you let somebody get behind you in the back of the end zone, Trey? That's unheard of. That's unprecedented. It wasn't a tip up. Hell, he actually got beat.
So when you look at it, so what I realized from coaching this year, there's no defense for a broken play. It's just at that point, it's free for all. It's broken play. What we realize is that usually a play takes takes up to 2 to 7 seconds to develop. If the quarterback has the ball longer than that, of course, in this case, with no real pressure or anything like that, it's broken at that point. And so even though it should have been a little better defended because you're already at the pinnacle because you're in the end zone is right there. So in 25, 30 yards, 24 yards, 25 yards, 30 yards. Once you get 7 seconds, what's going on, Mike? I see y'all doing your thing out there. Hopefully y'all get the chance to bring on a goal. I know y'all game coming up later on today. So, of course, continue to do the great things. Team USA out there at the Shape IBT. And we're going to have to talk about your Saints in a little bit there, Mr. Richardson. And so when you look at it, because the end zone's there, it's a little easier to defend as opposed to trying to defend 50 yards to where you have to continue to go. But it's like the end zone's there, so the defense, but a broken play is broken. And at that point, it's free for all. All you got to do is pick the spot.
Man, that young man that gave up that touchdown, I don't know. If Auburn gets a bowl game, he should not play. I'm just saying, like, you drop back 8 or 9 people into coverage. You got one job, that's to cover the end zone. Nobody gets behind you in the end zone. My point is, how you let the dude get behind you in the end zone?
He should have been in the back of the end zone. Yeah.
How you ain't push him out of bounds? How he not out of bounds? You know what I'm saying?
Being there, yeah.
Yeah, that's like, that was the crazy, but Auburn blew it twice. The muff punt was one, and then they played good defense to back Alabama all the way up. But then on 4th down, but what does that say about Milroe, man? Like, Milroe didn't look that good to me, but he looks better. He looked better now. I think he can beat Georgia now. I think he got.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. Do you think? Because what I say about this? Usually, I'm on Alabama's head, or I'm standing on desk when it comes to what's going on with Alabama and all that type of stuff. But the end state is Alabama played their hand very well, put themselves back in contention. Okay, I didn't get a chance to catch it, but I did put it up to share share it. So okay, they
129 to 20.
The Netherlands. Let's go, sis. Let's go, Team USA. Out there, shape the IBT.
No hoopers in the Netherlands. Ooh,
I see y'all already. As a matter of fact, I see the men. If I'm correct, they already have their ticket punch. I know y'all have a game tomorrow, but the women have a game tomorrow. But I see y'all already have y'all ticket punch semifinals. Correct? I think y'all be playing. Was it France? I was seeing. I wasn't sure. I glanced at it this morning. We're going to talk about the Saints, but a little bit. We're not going to go too hard on Saints when we get there, but we're going to talk about them a little bit. But yeah, so I don't know. I was wondering, is Milroe going to be enough to beat Alabama? To beat Georgia? Although Georgia was shaky sometimes, but is Milroe enough to beat Georgia? And you said you believe so. But Alabama made their way back. I would say that they lost to Texas, and they slowly but surely been creeping. I don't think the committee got their work cut out for them on this CFP coming up, because now
if Alabama wins, that's going to change, because 2 things are going to happen. Alabama and Georgia are getting in automatically. If Alabama beats Georgia, both of them getting in.
You think so?
So, yep, no doubt in my mind.
Because you got no doubt in my mind. Because the game in which I was really looking at is the Oregon versus Washington game. That's 3 versus 5. So, you know what I'm saying? But of course, from what you're saying, so I'm looking at potentially we can have a situation to where all 3 of the top 4 teams lose. If that happens, then I don't foresee any of them getting in. Because if Alabama can beat Georgia, Georgia should fall out, especially when you look at what happened when Ohio State got beat by Michigan. Ohio State dropped 6 spots to the 6th seed. So now, and then of course you got Oregon and versus Washington, which potentially could be an eliminator for Washington if they was the lead. And then on the flip side of that, you got Florida State at number 4 is facing off against 14th ranked Louisville, who was just 10th ranked until they got defeated. So, and then you got to look at Florida State isn't playing with the same roster in which they got to put them in this position. They won against Florida, but let's be real, Florida wasn't a real threat, but Louisville might be. So you could potentially have 3 of the top 4 that lose. If that happens, that's really going to shake up everything, especially if, let's say, we add the possibility for Iowa to handle business and take care of Michigan. Now you get all 4 teams lose. What is going to be the outcome then? And that's what I'm like really anxious to see what's going to go down in the CFP this week.
You can't. Georgia 2-time, they back-to-back champions. Regardless of what happened with them against Alabama, you can't take them out of the mix.
You got to. You got to be fair.
There's no team. Name a team besides Alabama that could really have a chance to beat Georgia. All I'm saying is Georgia stays. Georgia's going to stay regardless of what happens. But Alabama going to put themselves in the mix. That's going to be 2 teams right there because you know how the CFP cuts for those SEC teams. So it's like if Alabama got one job and that's to win. If they win, they in. Same thing with Georgia. Only people gonna be left out are the same teams that was gonna be left out anyway, and that's Texas. I think if Washington wins out, they in.
Oh, they in. They're gonna move up to number 2 if they win out. If they win,
yeah. And then you got one more team to pick. You know what I'm saying? Then you just got one more team to put in the mix. And I think that other team that's gonna end up in that mix, it won't be Texas. It's probably gonna be
Ohio State. No, Ohio State is playing. So yes, Ohio State can't get in because they're not playing. The only way Ohio State gets back into the top 4 is if all those teams, or at least 2 of those teams, lose.
Right. If Oregon wins, then Oregon already took. Like Oregon's loss was to Washington. They redeemed that loss, but I think that it'll be too late for Oregon. And then they always call it the so-called strength of schedule. So 2 SEC teams, they're gonna get in, man. I'm telling you. But if Alabama loses, then that changes. The best thing to happen for those other teams that you're talking about trying to get in is for Alabama to lose. If Alabama wins, then Alabama and Georgia in for sure. Like they in for sure. Like I don't know what rank they'll be, both of those teams, but they getting in for sure.
I can't. I would hope that the committee does not do that. And I really, I would hope they don't sit up and do that. If Georgia loses, keep Georgia in the top 4. That's not fair in state. You know what I'm saying? That is going to be a unfortunate situation if they do that. There's so many teams that's vying now to get in. I think what had happened, I really, in my bones, I really feel that we're going to get a whole new 4 because these other 4 are going to fall, and you're going to get. But even with the whole new 4, there's a possibility to still be. It's probably a possibility to have even a better series.
Let's face it, Trey. Florida State got robbed anyway. They didn't lose or anything. They got took out because their quarterback got took out. So that shows you the fairness of this whole thing. Like Florida State did not lose. They just got taken out of the mix because they lost their quarterback. Because they were a top 4 team. The next thing you know, they get dropped. So he gets hurt. They won the game, but he gets dropped anyway. I mean, they get dropped anyway. So it's not fair. But it's a business. Like whoever said it's a business, it's a true business, and that's why Bama and Georgia are a bigger draw, man.
This is what I think is going to pop off, right? And I'm saying I'm saying it now, right here. I see Bailey said Bama, Georgia, Michigan, and the winner of the Pac-12 championship would be in the CFP if Bama wins. I honestly believe, right, that potentially, I say this, if it won't hurt the business protocol or the business motto if all 4 teams was to lose. I think you get more of a competitive championship if you get Bama, Oregon, Ohio State, Who would it be if they lose? Bama, Ohio State, Oregon, and let's say Texas, right? I think you get a better match and more of a bang for your buck CFP if those teams were to get in. So it's not
But
you're not losing anything if that because potentially, like we're saying, we could see a possible loss from Georgia losing to Bama. We could see it's a toss up, in my opinion, between Oregon and Washington because they went down to it, and now we, like you said, it's a time to pay the piper type situation. Michigan can run up against a buzzsaw in Iowa, because they wasn't looking, and now here we go. Wasn't it Iowa they were stealing the signals from?
it was these, they
So
stole
you know what I'm
signals
saying.
from.
So you know what I'm saying. It was Iowa and
So
Purdue, and they stealing the signals. So it's like you have that, and then of course, and then last but not least, Florida State against Louisville. Louisville might pop up and do something. So we're not too far. I think it's a possibility, man. I really think it's a possibility.
some good games this Saturday though. It's gonna be some good games Saturday.
It's some good games, and it's going to probably line up for some good games on towards the end of the year. So definitely that. Like we was about to move into a little NFL. Probably not too much there, of course. When you look at it, as we see, as this morning or yesterday reported, Jonathan Taylor's going to be out a couple of weeks with
Hurt again. Hurt again, man. He's unfortunate. And the Colts playing pretty good football.
He got his money. He got his money.
But they still got what's his name, Moss or whatever, running, right? They still got
but Moss. It's so you know what? I'm not going to even. It is unfortunate, but I'm not feeling. It's not so much unfortunate much for Taylor because one, like I said, he got his money. The fortunate, it might be unfortunate now because now Moss has to come back in and he has to show that what he was doing before Taylor came back was who he is, and he can sit up and basically help them out because what we know is Gardner Minshew and company are making the play. They have a possibility to be in the playoffs. So does this change the defensive aspect or what? Not the defense, the outcome of the Colts now that Taylor's going to be out and he has to be out for 2 or 3 weeks? Like, I don't know. Do we see a regression with the Colts in this point, or does Moss stand up? What do you think?
I think Moss going. Like I said, I think Moss going to do all right. Like I think he gonna do all right. For the Colts, I'm surprised at the Colts, man. Like I'm actually surprised at the whole AFC South, even the collapse of Tennessee. I mean Tennessee, the last 2 years, what a sudden collapse! Like they had that division on lock, and look at them. But then the Colts are surprising with a first year head coach hanging in there. The Texans, the way they hanging in there. And what about those Jaguars, man? Like that division turned out to be tougher than what a lot of people thought it was going to be. And Minshew holding in there after Richardson. I think some things happen. I don't wish bad on nobody, but I think the best thing that happened to the Colts was Richardson getting injured. Because they was playing all right football with him, but they was running him too much. But now Minshew, they can throw the ball a little bit, and they use their 2 running backs more, and they don't have to run the quarterback as much or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like so I see them like I don't know. Like I said, it's gonna come down to them. I think it's gonna come down to them and the Texans for that last spot. So it's gonna be 2 AFC South teams fighting for that 7th seed, and I can see the Colts getting that spot.
What's going on, TT? Glad to have information with us this morning. I hope everything's going for you. Having a good and gracious week. Middle is a hump day, so definitely glad to see you information with us. So I don't know. Like you said, they definitely was after Richardson. They was doing a little too much with him, pushing him a little hard. Like he was doing everything. He was their all-purpose person, everything. So in which presumably got him to the position where he is, not realized like this is an NFL. It's different from college. Like in the college, you was able to utilize your body to do these things. It's different in the NFL. They fast, if not the defensive players are faster, if not as fast, if not faster than you are. Obviously, they hit harder than what you think. And to put him in a position, they put him in a bad position. They can give him all the tools that he needed to be effective. And now here he is on the sidelines, off of what was presumably a very good start for him. But in any case, he's still a part of the organization, and I'm very sure if he comes back and is ready to go, and if they need to, they're very sure they will insert him. But the Colts, they're looking all right now. But like you said, the Texans is looking good, taking care of business here and there. Definitely a team I did not see coming. I think it was more so based on the fact of there's some slip ups here and there for them, but definitely looking to get to be in position, especially when you see teams like the Browns are starting to falter. Cincinnati is going to falter, so that's really opening up the door for the Texans to walk and the Colts to walk right on in and be in contention to at least be in the playoffs. So, interestingly enough, another conversation in reference to playoffs: does the Jets still have a chance, even if Aaron Rodgers comes back?
Man, get off the Jets, man. The Jets, I said it before the season. I've been saying it all season long. Their problem is not the quarterback. Their problem is the team. It's the organization. It's the team. If you watch the Jets play, it's got nothing to do with the quarterback. Your all-pro receiver last year, your rookie of the year receiver, he don't even try to get open. He not going all out to play. Your other receivers drop key passes that make the quarterback look worse than what he is. And then, you think they're gonna catch the ball because Aaron Rodgers all of a sudden throwing it to him? You think Lazard gonna catch the ball then? No, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's gonna still drop passes. They gambled on old people. Randall Cobb was way too old. What was he going to do even with Aaron Rodgers with the speed of the game? The game that passed you by, it's time for Cobb to go sit down. You see, when you hire they hired people that Aaron Rodgers like, not that they were any good for their team. And you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? The only person that works for is Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? But Brady brought Gronkowski. You know how big Gronkowski is? I mean, that's hard to 6'7". It's hard to stop no matter what. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the differences. The personnel, you picked the wrong personnel because you was anticipating Aaron Rodgers. That's a bad organizational move for any team when you don't have no backup plans. And they kept the last thing I'm gonna say about the Jets is the fact that last year everybody was rooting for Mike White. The fact that you didn't offer Mike White any money, you let him go be a free agent in Miami where he never gonna get no playing time, and you kept Zach Wilson. They wasn't trying to win, man. Like, for real, like, the Jets have no plan. Like, I think it starts with the GM and the coach. I'm not going to say Saleh should be fired, but he's not a good coach because you got two of the best running backs in the game. You got Breece Hall and Cook. Dalvin Cook. Where's Dalvin Cook? You don't even see him. And your offensive line, you mean to tell me you put all the pressure on the quarterback, you got an offensive line that's struggling that can't block, right? I mean, think about that. They can't pass block to save their life. But I bet you if you can line up and zone block for runs, why they ain't running the ball 40 times? That's all I'm saying. Why are they throwing the ball at all? Like, why they not trying to at least pee-wee football and stay in games or whatever? You got a good defense. That's what I'm saying about the coaching. It's like, yo, you want to throw the ball. Why? Because you got Nathaniel Hackett. Like, the moment that you knew Aaron Rodgers wasn't going to be there no more, your coaching adjustment should have been, well, I got these two running backs. We're going to run them to death. You know what I'm saying? We only go throw when we have to. You know what I'm saying? Like, run them to death. Like, line up. And sometimes it comes down to your personnel. You got to hit somebody. Man, you've been in the trenches. You played basketball. You played whatever. Sometimes you played the sports. So you know, Trey, sometimes it's just about, hey, I got to line up and beat the man across from me. You know what I'm saying? Where's that mentality with the Jets? It's not there.
So Cook, I don't know if it's the offense's game plan or schemes, or is it just could legitly regress? Like, we got to take in consideration why Minnesota let Cook go. Like Minnesota let him go. Like, they let him walk, and
we know why they let him walk.
They're more successful without him.
We know why. We know why. Come on, man. You know why Minnesota let him walk. That was a business move. You know, we're gonna pay Justin Jefferson we're not gonna pay you because we gotta look at the receivers that we got. You know what I'm saying? Like they couldn't pay Cook. That's just plain and simple. If they paid Cook what he was asking for, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt them in the long run. Minnesota had to do what they had to do, but
they let Thielen walk. Like they let them both walk, and both of them they're not. Thielen is doing better than Cook is.
But Thielen was done, but Thielen, they didn't need him. You got
they brought in Addison.
They got well,
but
and
Thielen, you let Thielen go and you keep KJ Osborne. Like really,
that was a good choice because you're gonna get more out of Osborne in the long run than you are out of Thielen on the back end of his career. Like like I feel bad for Thielen because he. Like right now at his age, man, go try to be a part of a playoff team, a situation. You went to the Panthers because the Panthers offer you more money. Like, and it's sad when you're the only thing they got because him being the only thing they got out there got them what, a 1-10 record? like just saying, you got 1-10 and your coach fired. You know what I mean? So yeah, like, but Dalvin Cook, man, he I think he got something left in him. I just think the Jets don't know how to use him. You know what I'm saying? They don't know what they're doing because they was anticipating Aaron Rodgers being there.
Oh yeah, that's definitely what it was, and which was gut wrenching when he went down. But like you just said, you just talked about the coach being fired for Carolina. I mean, Tepper is a different type of owner, right? He's big on diversity and things of that nature. Seemingly, he's willing to make certain moves. But do you think that was a little too? I know Lestanton's in here; he's a Carolina fan. What do you think that was a little premature to cut Reich at this point?
He never should have hired Reich in the first place. I'm just gonna put that out there. Nothing against Frank Reich, by the way. It was just that you had Steve Wilkes. That team was competitive. Now you go to even though you had really got rid of most of your stars last year, you got rid of McCaffrey. You had made moves, but now you make the move. But now you make the move, and you got rid of the coach that had y'all at least competing for the division. I mean, that division is sorry anyway, but it's like y'all were competing for the division, and then you go get Frank Reich because you thinking. And I know the thinking was he can coach this quarterback better. We go, you know what I'm saying? Like. It's like they said they was expecting to get C.J. Stroud because they thought the Texans was going to take Bryce Young, but they wanted Bryce Young all along, which is crap because they expected they was going to get C.J. Stroud. You know what I'm saying? But when that didn't happen, they realized, and they took Bryce Young, but it's like, yo, you took Bryce Young. So, hey, do what you know what I'm saying? It's like they wasn't expecting to get as high pick and move up the way they are. But my problem with Carolina, having lived there and seen, like looking at the games, the teams before, like this got to be the worst Carolina team you ever seen. Like I don't think they ever been this sorry. Like I don't think they ever been this sorry. Or what's a better word of what I'm looking for? Or this, like they scattered all over the place. They don't know which direction they going. And I do want to say this about them though. I had no problem with them getting rid of DJ Moore. Like people was like, oh, they got rid of Bryce Young because I heard the so-called experts. They was like, oh, they got rid of his one and only. DJ Moore was not that guy, and he's still not that guy in Chicago. Don't you know? They said a couple of weeks ago, I was watching Chicago Bear game trade, and they said something about DJ Moore, how many. It wasn't the catches, but it was however many yards that he had. They was like that was the best he ever done at a certain point. And he only had like 600 or 700 yards or something after about, week 8 or whatever it was. It was week 9 or whatever it was. It's like, so this is the guy y'all saying that was supposed to be this good? That's not good. When you're looking at the Devontae Adams and you're looking at all the production of the Justin Jefferson, all those big name receivers that you got, man, what is this DJ Moore stuff? It's like, get off the gas. It's like, my problem is they didn't bring in a tight end or nothing. Like Bryce Young got nothing. I mean, you got to give him something, right? Like C.J. Stroud is overperforming in his situation with the Texans. But they gave him, even if he didn't have the Tank Dells and those dudes performing the way that they performing, the Nico Collins and those dudes, they purposely went and got Dalton Schultz for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got a safety. You know what I'm saying? We got you.
Yeah.
You know, we got someone that you can get the ball to right there in your face.
Devin Singletary is a nice backup to Damian Pierce. Like, it puts people in place. Like, even like you said, I mean, I don't even know who the hell Tank Dell was, honestly. But I mean,
Right.
But again, what we're saying, Brandon Cooks got out the door for a reason. Like, so, you know what I'm saying? So obviously some of these GMs or front office people are doing their due diligence and paying attention, and they're making these moves obviously for a reason, because these people that they're letting go, not the most enduring, but they're people that still have something left in the tank. And you cut your teeth here. We understand, we see why I let them go. Maybe they've seen something in Nico Collins already. They went and got Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's working.
So before we get off the Carolina Panthers, go back to the Frank Reich thing. Think about this. Stimulate your mind to this right here, Trey. When has a coach ever been successful when he got fired in the middle of the season the year before? You know, they normally go be coordinators somewhere else. They don't get a head coaching job again after being fired in the middle of the season. That's very rare. You know what I'm saying? So back-to-back seasons, he got fired in the middle of the year. Think about that. What coach what does that happen? You know what I'm saying? If Frank Reich ends up a head coach again next year, man, come on.
You know, I think he said he's done. I think he said that's the end of his chapter. He's closing the chapter.
And I think Frank Reich is a legend. I'm just gonna put that out there. I think he's a legend because it wasn't Jim Kelly that was winning a lot of sometimes in those games when he played for Buffalo. You know what I'm saying? Frank Reich came in and put up some legendary numbers against some legendary. You know what I'm saying? It put on some good performances as a backup quarterback. I think he earned his spots to get cracks and stuff in the league. But yeah, if I was him, I would be done. I'm done.
It's unfortunate moving from them to and like you said, and putting. So going back to something that you said earlier, these newer Oh no, I'd like to go back to the Jets, right? So Hackett, is he the issue? It was a lot of hoopla about what Sean Payton said about Hackett. Of course, rightfully so, because you look at the fraternity of coaches and it's like you speak on one of your own in this nature. Is like, what is really going on? But now Hackett is in New York, and the team is dismal. So he goes from being a dismal head coach after a successful offensive coordinator's resume. Of course, taking consideration, Aaron Rodgers was his quarterback. He goes to New England. To Denver. Not so well, fired early. And then he goes to become offensive coordinator for the Jets as they're chasing Aaron Rodgers. Is Hackett what we see him as, or is it just the unfortunate situation that Aaron Rodgers is his power source?
It's definitely Aaron Rodgers. You can see that the last two spots that he's been. Like, he had Russell Wilson, and that offense was awful. You know what I mean? Like, him and Russell was never on the same page. Some people, man, it's like what's the guy that just got fired from the Raiders? Josh McDaniels. Mm-hmm. His only claim to fame is not New England. It was messing with Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? It was being Tom Brady quarterbacks coach or whatever, and then calling offensive plays here and there alongside Tom Brady. You feel what I'm saying? Josh McDaniels ain't been good without Tom Brady, no matter where he's been, right? Like, he done left New England twice and he hadn't been no good. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes you work well, and that's no knock against those dudes. Sometimes you just work well with a particular person in a situation, the understandings that you have, right? And that's what you're seeing from Nathaniel Hackett. But I don't blame Hackett. Like I said, I blame the Jets organization. Why did you bring Hackett there in the first place? You know what I mean? Like, because you wanted Aaron Rodgers. Like, let's face it, the Jets took the wrong gamble. You know what I mean? Like, because what they saw was, for me, what they saw was a similar setup with when Brady left New England and Tampa was able to bring Brady in and win immediately. They wanted that same outcome with Aaron Rodgers, but it just didn't work that way. It's like, because First of all, Hackett, come on, man. Like, but here's the difference between this is for me. This is the difference between the Jets and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bruce Arians was already a proven coach that could take a team far. You know what I'm saying? He could. Bruce Arians could get you to Robert Saleh. You ain't seen him do it. Like last year, they ended up what 7-10. His whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like they talk about, oh, we just a step away from. No, you're not. You're not even close to the Super Bowl. 7-10 is not Super Bowl caliber. Where is that Super Bowl caliber? On what planet? I mean, I'm just saying. So when you think about it, it's a different situation. You know what I'm saying? Tampa Bay brought in Arians. Arians knew what he had. He had to get rid of Jameis Winston. All I need is a quarterback that won't throw 30 interceptions, and we can probably do something. You feel what I'm saying? And everybody bought into that. I think the Jets they tried to do the same thing because they saw that model. It was like they trying to copy that format, but with the wrong pieces.
Okay. So going back to the conversation that we was just talking about, the Denver Broncos, looking very bad, honestly, at the beginning of the season. Almost written off in a sense, no different than the same thing with the Minnesota Vikings. Been written off, then started making some plays potentially in playoff positions for both teams. But of course, one of their top defensive players in Jackson is currently suspended for the lack of, I guess we could say, decision making. So at the beginning of the conversation we was talking about USC and the lack of tackling. Now, me personally, as I look around all levels of football, there's a lack of tackling in all levels. I don't know when the blow up era became prevalent. Maybe because of oohs and ahs and clicks and stuff and the ability to put it on TikTok and run it back and go viral. But of course, I think that's the hugest and biggest issue is that we're in the blow them up era and people don't tackle anymore. They look to hit stick. So Jackson is going to see the commissioner in reference to a suspension. Denver is playing pretty good ball. Have turned it around. So, two questions, right? Why is the blow up era so prevalent, and is Denver going to make the playoffs?
They give you the blow up thing. I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily see that. I see it sometimes with dudes ducking their heads and missing, like whiffing on the tackles or the collision. But I think that when you talk NFL, because college, you still got a little leeway where you can still hit somewhat. But in the pros specifically, man, it's just where's your target now? You can't make like you used to be able to put your helmet right here in a guy's chest. That's the way you taught the tackle, straight up, right? Your face mask hits right here, not your helmet, not the crown of your helmet, but your face mask. Now that's a helmet to helmet contact because the top of your helmet would always hit their chin or right here on their face mask. You know what I'm saying? Like if you tackle form, you can't form tackle. So now you have to lower the points of attack, and you have to watch out, but you can't control some of the movement of the other players. So it's like it gives you hardly no target. So I think what you're seeing is you see the regression on the tackling side. I still think you got to find. My point be when I say the stuff about the tackling, it's like, hey man, they got a whole waistline. There's other ways to tackle than just hitting up high or just throwing your shoulder into them. Like, how about put your body across them or something? You know what I mean? Like impede the path or something. Like do different things.
Now how they're taught to tackle, especially with the whole concussion situation, is you, like you said, still you center mass, but you put your head on the left or right side of the body, so that way you don't, like you said, the crown or anything like that, because there's so many possibilities for injury, especially head and neck injuries. So it's taught to put the head on the left or the right side of the body while tackling. Right. But like you said, it's something you said, form tackle. It is form tackling. And that's why I say like the era of saying hit stick or whatever like that, or catch him slipping or whatever case like that. I would think that you still can make those type of spear hits and stuff like that when you're properly form tackling. Like, I don't get why. It's like for Justin Jackson, he's that's what he's getting hit with a lot. I mean, Kareem Jackson, that's what he's getting hit with a lot. And the latest one in which got him his latest suspension was one of those type of tackles. Like, what is going on?
But it wasn't a penalty in the game. You know, like the league hit him afterwards, though. It wasn't even a penalty in the game. So it's like for me, you're never gonna have, like, Tom Brady touched on it. Like, all the big hitters back in the days, the John Lynch's and the Ronnie Lotts and all them dudes, man, they would be fined every week. They would be thrown out of the league by now. You know, like, so it's really, like, to me, it's really no hits that you can make. But even though those dudes hit clean for their time and their era, it's like now the impact of the hit, you can't hit a guy hard these days. You got to just face it. The harder the impact, the quicker the flag comes out, no matter in what capacity. You just can't do it. Like, you can't hit hard no more. Because even if you hit a guy square and it's not a foul, they still throwing the flag. Like, you know, like, whoa, that was just too hard of a hit. So the defense up against it. So a lot of times what you're seeing now is guys trying to just throw their shoulder into them. And if you're running full speed at somebody, sometimes it's instinct. How you just gonna remember, oh, I gotta put my head this way, I gotta put my head. Sometimes it's just boom, I'm just trying to, you know what I mean? The name of the game is to take you down. Like so you get that, like how they made a big deal about what's the guy's name with the drop hip tackle. It's like, oh, now y'all gonna ban that. Pretty soon, defense just gonna have to be reaching for flags, man. You might well just put flags on the offensive players and turn it to flag football. Because if you take away the drop hip tackle, there gonna be much more you can do to stop a guy. If you tackle him from behind and stuff, it ain't gonna be, you know, horse collar. I mean, that should have been outlawed, but different ways to tackle are gone. So if I'm chasing a guy, my only option is gonna be to push him or shoestring tackle him. You know,
that's what it's like, kind of like going to. Taking away. What I see is it going from the upper torso to the abdomen down to the hips and below. Of course, we know if you wrap someone up around the legs and stuff like that, potentially you're gonna be able to stop them. So I mean that. Okay, so I got that. So it's sometimes I think it comes down to be about the players. I mean the referees' discretions and all that type of stuff. So the other part of it, are the Denver Broncos a potential contender?
Man, they working their way back. I'm surprised. I mean, I gotta eat a little crow on that because I didn't expect them to do anything. And, you know, like, but they got off to a rough start, but they playing much better now. Like, you gotta say, Sean Payton does know a little bit of what he's doing. Excuse me, he knows what he's doing.
Obviously, yeah.
And there was never no doubt that he could coach. It's just the way that he came in talking noise. You know what I mean? Like, for a guy that got one Super Bowl, he talk a whole lot of noise or whatever. But I'm more impressed with the defensive side of the ball. They done picked it because, remember, they gave up 70 points. They was embarrassed. But since they gave up 70 points, they seem like the defense been playing a lot better at keeping them in games. And, you know, Russell Wilson been playing pretty good all year. But playoffs.
Did you think Russ was done? I know I did. I'm not gonna even lie to you.
I didn't think he was done. I mean, I said it before. Like, as far as for me, it was always like, oh, can Sean Payton fix Russ? When they first started talking about it, it's like the guy that need fixing. The guy just needs to be comfortable with the players around him. He needs to be comfortable in the situation and understanding what's the main goal of the offense. And what I'm seeing from, I think him and Sean Payton get on the same page that, hey, Russ, you're not young no more. Like, a lot of times these dudes hold on, you know, like you seen players, man, they try to hold on to the prime situation too long. It's like Russell used to be good at holding that ball, extending plays. He can't do that no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not fast no more. They catching you. They tackling you. You're not as shifty as. So now that he's just getting rid of the ball and taking the 2-3 yard passes, he look better. You know, taking the smaller yardage instead of looking for the chunk plays. You know what I'm saying? I think that's good. And I think now that they rounded into it, I think I'm not gonna say they're gonna make the playoffs, but I'm saying, man, because I don't see them. I see the Colts and the Texans fighting for that last spot. I don't see how Denver could get in that mix. You know, I just don't see. I don't see a path for them right now. Yeah, I don't see them.
My man ISO says that he thinks Russ was just out of shape and out of focus for the most part.
Well, that too. Did you see how he was? You see how he was blown up last year? Like,
yeah,
his uniform. I mean, man, his uniform looked tight. I think that's a part of. I think that was a part of Dak Prescott's problem too, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, you put on some weight, like, you know, like you ain't working out like you were in previous off seasons or something. I see it with quite a few players, but yeah, I think I wouldn't say the focus was out, but I would say yeah, he was out of shape, and that could really mess your game up.
And then also could it have possibly been that everyone talking about his coveted receiving core with Courtland Sutton. Now he has Mims, Judy. Let's say what I say, Sutton, Judy, Mims. I know I'm missing somebody, but a lot of times they're missing somebody now because he's injured. I can't think of his name right now, but a lot of times he didn't have that core, and so that receiving core. Could that have been some of it too? He was just lacking in his players and his weapons. Now he has
Judy's overrated. Judy's overrated to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was a part of the problem. He was supposed to he ain't stepped up his game. But Sutton, I like Sutton, man. Sutton figured out ways to make plays. I think, yeah, and then now they use what's his name more in certain situations. P. Ryan.
Oh, P. Ryan.
P. Ryan out of the backfield. They use him a little bit more, man. You know, and I think that's helping a team out. But yeah, I think it has something to do with the receivers not only not being there, but when they are there, not really stepping up. Like, we got the week. What you see nowadays is that if these receivers can't get open against certain coverages, and what ticks me off is most receivers should be able to get open against zone. You should be able to run to a spot in a zone. You know what I'm saying? You should be able to spot zone and get open in a spot in a zone. But a lot of these guys, they just not doing it. And too many highlight catches for me, but we'll talk about that another time. Too many going for one-hand catches. They don't dive for balls no more. They don't go low for passes no more. They don't. That's why I was a huge fan of Devontae Adams until this year, watching him with the Raiders, man. Your effort is lame. Like, all that's not on the quarterback. Sometimes you got to make the quarterback look good. You got to go get that ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's right there. Put an effort and go get that ball. You're supposed to be the best. Go get it. Same thing with Stephon Diggs. Diggs made, oh boy, I was so mad at the Eagles game. Like, stop crying to the referee. We get it. Slay holding you every play. The refs ain't call it one time. Why don't you man up once or twice? Make them call a thing. Run through the dude. You know what I'm saying? Force them to make the call. Go get the ball. Stop stopping short and letting the ball just hit the ground. What are you doing? And then look at the referee like, you see him holding me. It's like, no, make the play. Make the play.
I was just gonna leave it alone. I wasn't gonna say anything about the Eagles for the most part, especially as we know with the game coming up. So I would say the Eagles have been on borrowed time. That's why I am so confident that this week the Eagles go down. I'm confident in that. Like I even like I don't. So I'm not necessarily a betting man, but whenever I sit up and make a wager on something, regardless of what the wager it is I'm making, whether it's monetary or whatever like that, I always do it because I consider myself a person that has a keen eye, a keen mindset. So I take in consideration what I think is going to be the outcome, and I believe that my odds, when I weigh the odds, that the outcome is going to be in my favor. Hence the reason I called Bishop on last week before this game, the game they just played against the
Bills.
Against Buffalo. I called Bishop to get ahead of it. I was like, hey, jersey bet, right? I was like, jersey and t-shirt bet. And he's like, what you thinking? I was like, the loser buys the winner a salute to service jersey, and they buy themselves the winning team shirt, take a picture, and post it. And so he was like, okay. And so I was like, all right, so that, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I was on. So, but now, after seeing like it's a slippery slope, the Eagles are dialed in, although sometimes it's like it's busy, but you hurry up and hit redial right quick, and then when you dial back, you get through. That's what seems to be going on with the Eagles right now. Like they sit up and they're on, as you say, like how you feel about Pittsburgh is how I feel about the Eagles. Like they're just getting by on people, and everyone like they should have lost to Detroit, they should have lost to Dallas, they should have lost to Washington, they should have lost to Buffalo. Although they didn't, so they are where they are right now. But at this point, the Eagles should have 4 losses on their record. They had games. It was games that was dialed in. They should have lost.
I give you 3 losses, right? Because they lost to the Jets, right? But I give you they should have lost to Washington, the Commanders.
Oh, maybe they should have lost to the Jets. They shouldn't have lost to the Jets. So yeah, they should have. Yeah, okay, I got you.
But they should have. I mean, they lost to the Jets. So if you count the Jets, they should have lost to the Commanders, and they should have lost to Buffalo.
Dallas and Buffalo.
They never should have. They wouldn't have lost to Dallas. Dallas did not do enough to win that game. As a Dallas Cowboy fan, we didn't do enough to beat them.
2 goal line stops, and you don't think it was just a matter of inches?
It was a matter of our defense didn't. We'll talk about that another time. As far as Dallas, I guess as a Dallas Cowboy fan, I get so tired of us being pumped up about our defense. You gave up 28 points. That's not good enough. You had the leads. How about holding the lead? You was leading 17-14. How about winning the game? You know what I'm saying? 24-14 or something. You gave up 2 touchdowns when you didn't have. I mean, you feel in the second half. You know what I'm saying? You were just beat in the second half. I like that comment right there too about. Yeah, it reminds. That's exactly. It's like the Randy Moss effect or something. Man, I'm not going all out on this team, and that's what I don't like about it. If you want out of the organization, just do like everybody else and say I want out. You know what I mean? Like I want to leave. But don't go out there and hurt your own career by not going out to catch passes, but then saying you want to be a legend. I don't like that. But back to what we were talking about, as far as to your comment about the Eagles running out of time, man, I'm just going to put it this way. I'll probably be going for the 49ers this Sunday just because as a Cowboy fan, I need them to lose. I need them to lose so we can have a chance when we meet them the following week. You know what I'm saying?
Well, hell, that's why I needed Buffalo to win this weekend, so we would have had a chance to take over the division, the conference, if we get the win.
Right. But Buffalo just not that team. They struggling this year. But as far as the Eagles, I don't know, man. This is what I'm looking at. Keep winning in the regular season. I love it. I want the fall to come in the playoffs. I don't even care about the regular season, to be honest. Keep doing your thing. I want the fall to come in the playoffs, and I'm expecting the fall to come in the playoffs. You know what I mean? I'm expecting the fall to. I'm expecting that's where it's gonna happen. Like regular season, they might even beat San Fran this weekend. But I think the fall gonna come. It's gonna catch up with you in the long run. But I wanted to catch up with you when it counts the most. You know what I'm saying? Like in the playoffs. I don't care if it's in your building, somebody else's building. That's where I wanted to catch up with you. But I will say this. I think San Fran needs this win more than the Eagles. They don't need this win. San Francisco needs to win. Like San Francisco, because San Fran, you got 3 losses. You dropped the 4th one. They're gonna probably win a division. But I think the wins are gonna count whether you end up in that second or third position. It depends on what position you want after the Eagles.
Well, right now we're second in the conference. Even if we beat Philadelphia this weekend, we're still second in the conference. But but it gives us if just in case y'all are able to take care of business, then it puts us back to where we're in good standings for the most part. Because after playing y'all, we have the Ravens the following week. And then we have Seattle, then we have the Ravens. Yeah, so you know what I'm saying? So it's as I said, we're bird hunting. We took care of, and then we have the Cardinals as well. So at the end of the season. So we'll see how it ends up going. But that was one thing what you said that I was like, I gotta sit up and I was going, but that's what I feel very confident that we get the dub.
And I like that thing. The Lions need home field bad. Like the Lions gonna need more than that. But what's up with the Lions anyway? You can't
They
even
let
win.
me down this weekend.
They never win on Thanksgiving. You
They
know,
let
Lions,
Christian Watson come out and punch them in the mouth. Him and in love with a deep.
I picked the Lions, and I was like,
I did too.
You know, why did I pick the Lions to win that game when my gut was the Packers were going to win because the Lions never win on Thanksgiving. I mean, when's the last time they won on Thanksgiving? They just don't win on Thanksgiving. But the flaws that I saw with the Lions, like if they want to compete for real, they got to figure out a pass rush. You got to, whether it's blitzing, I don't know, they got to do something to get a pass rush because the opposing team quarterbacks got too much time to stand back there and pick you apart. Like it's like you were saying before, no defense can cover that longer period of time. You know what I mean? So they got to get a pass rush. They got to get one quick. Like if they want to compete, playoff
rely on
wise.
Aiden Hutchinson. They rely on Aiden Hutchinson, and that's not getting it. He's only one man.
That's what I'm saying. That's why you got to get a pass rush. Like whether you blitzing, some way you got to get pressure on the other team quarterback. Yeah, they should have. Yeah, Chase Young probably would have been a good addition. I like that. You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, I think that would have helped. Somebody along that line with Aiden Hutchinson would help him out. But you got to. I mean, basically, that's all they missing, in my opinion. I mean, and Jared Goff is gonna be Jared Goff. In some games, he gonna make poor, but they all do. Like some games, quarterbacks gonna make crazy decisions. But I don't worry about that because I think that Campbell understand that in a playoff situation. He wouldn't rely on Goff that much. It'll be the running game, it'll be Montgomery, it'll be the running backs that you turn to and then throw when you have to. So I think the Lions got a good team, man. It's the problem. I'm surprised, by the way, because I picked the Packers to win that division. But the Lions holding in there. But the Lions, I think they got to play the Vikings twice. So whatever happened with them and the Vikings, they got to play the Vikings 2 times. Whatever happened with them, gonna be different.
What's going on, Leslie? We're gonna get to that in a second. Real quick, I got one more topic to talk about in the NFL, and then we'll move on to the NBA because I would definitely like to get to Cornelius' conversation in reference to so far what he sees in the in-game tournament. So it's some things that came up yesterday. So definitely gonna be talking about that in a second. So transition a little bit. Lions, we know they're currently in a good position right now. So possibly they would need to drop 2 or 3 games to be out of that position. So they were in the number 2 position, currently in the 3 position now. So we'll see how it comes. And then San Francisco plays a harder schedule, so it's an opportunity. All Lions have to do is win their games. So this right quick, right? Yesterday, the semifinalists for the Hall of Fame, which we have continuously had conversations about on this show a few times in reference to who's deserving of the Hall of Fame. What does it take to get into the Hall of Fame? The goalpost moves all the time. So 173 nominees. Of that 173, we are now down to 25 of those individuals, right? Of those individuals, 2 of them are Julius Peppers and Antonio Gates. Julius Peppers' first year as a first-year balloter of this year, potentially, maybe able to make it. Of 8 players who made it to the final stage, those 8 players that made it to the final stage of 15 from last year. And that was Jared Allen, Dwight Freeney, Devin Hester, Andre Johnson, Patrick Willis, Willie Anderson, Darrell Woodson, and Torrey Holt. Right? So they're currently are in the list of players that are on the 25-man roster that are looking to get in at this point. Of course, that list includes Eric Allen, Anquan Bolden, Fred Taylor, Hines Ward, Ricky Waters, Reggie Wayne, Vince Wilfork, Eddie George, James Harrison, Rodney Harris, Robert Matthews, Fred Taylor, and Johari Heaven, and last but not least, Steve Smith Sr. As we all know, of course, this list is going to be whittled down. This 28 list is going to be whittled down to 15 people by January. And from those 15 people, it would be trimmed down to 10 people. And then after those 10 people are selected, then 5 of them will go through a selection meeting in which 5 candidates have to get 80% of votes to be in the Hall of Fame. 2-part question. Is Julius Peppers and Antonio Gates getting into the Hall of Fame this year? And if they aren't, or who else potentially do you see getting into the Hall of Fame off this list as well?
I think it's gonna be tough on Julius Peppers. I don't even think he got the resume to get in. Like to be honest, I don't. Yeah, I mean, what's his sack numbers? I don't think he got enough sacks. Like
Julius's sack numbers are.
That's what I don't think he got enough sacks.
He has 159 and a half sacks career.
Oh well,
fourth most in
correction. He deserves to be in because I know the lead. Bruce Smith got like 200 sacks, so 159 sacks for a career. Yeah, he deserved to be in. My bad. But Antonio Gates, I think he a shoe in. You know what I'm saying? I think Antonio Gates a shoe in. Like really, like
155 yards catches for 11,000 yards, 116 touchdowns.
I think the touchdowns for tight ends, that's really good, man. Like his numbers are really good as far as tight ends. Like you got to think he was one of the best tight ends when he was in the game. He up there with the Shannon Sharps and the Gonzalez,
Tony
man.
Gonzalez.
Like you know what I'm saying? With the Tony Gonzalez, I think Antonio Gates a shoe in. Yeah, so Peppers, I correct myself. I think Peppers should get in. You know what I mean? So I think that's. I think those two should get in. And out of some of the names on your list, though, like I know Carolina fans gonna hate me for saying this, but why is Steve Smith on the list? He should not be on anybody's list.
No.
He a legend in Carolina. He belongs in the Carolina Panthers Wall of Fame, Hall of Fame, or whatever. But NFL Hall of Fame. When was he ever the best receiver in the game? Never. Not one season can you say he was the best receiver out of all in his whole career. Not once. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm serious. Not once. But name 1 year that he was the best receiver. We talked about him as being the top receiver in any season that he played. And he played quite a few seasons because he did play. He played for another team. Who else did he play for? I mean, he was nice. I mean, but nice don't get you Hall of Fame. Nice don't get you Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying? For me, it's like the stuff that he did.
Steve Smith, he was a 2-time All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler, 1-time Comeback Player of the Year award, 1,031 receptions for 14,731 yards, 81 touchdowns.
81 touchdowns. What does that put him? That don't even put him up there with, like it's quite a few receivers that's way out there. That's not nowhere close to the T.O.s, nowhere close to the Randy Mosses, nowhere close. Man, and he played in a lot of those dudes' era. To me, he just, like I said, he was a good player, but it's sort of like what was his name for Pittsburgh that surprised Hines Ward. Like Hines Ward don't really, like I don't know.
He's another one on the list.
That's but Hines Ward should not be in. Like if he's still on the list, he still belong on the list because he's been trying to get in a while. Eventually those dudes gonna get in because they're gonna run out of old timers. Like how they have those players where they go back 20, 30 years later and then they put them into the Hall of Fame. Like we see that happen every now and then with certain players. But who else was on the list? It was somebody else that you mentioned that I was like, they borderline. Just for the length of their career.
Eric Allen, Anquan Bolden, Jahari Evans, London Fletcher, Eddie George, James Harrison, Rodney Harrison, Robert Mathis, Steve Smith Jr., Fred Taylor, Hines Ward, Ricky Waters, Reggie Wayne, Vince Wilfork, Jared Allen, Dwight Freeney, Devin Hester, Andre Johnson, Torrey Holt, Patrick Willis, Willie Anderson, Darren Woodson.
I mean, Andre Johnson, man, if he would have played a couple of more years, I think he would deserve to be in. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, he like in the Steve Smith category, man. Almost, but not quite. But back up. Eric Allen, I think Eric Allen got a good chance this year to get in. I think when it comes down to that final 15, he gonna be in that final 15. But I wouldn't go as I liked Hines Ward, but that don't mean that he should be Hall of Fame. I think a lot of times, especially in this modern era, Trey, I don't know about you, but I think that people just putting in their favorites. They're not going by the real margins that should separate you from Hall of Fame. It go back a few years ago when Dion was saying, man, they should have different tiers. If you go start just letting anybody in, it should be different levels of the Hall of Fame. And I agree with that, because a lot of these players are not on the levels of like I said, a lot of these receivers, like they're not on the level of the productivity that you've seen the other Hall of Fame players. Like Hines Ward should be nowhere. When he played at his peak was nowhere near Randy Moss's. You feel what I'm saying? His peak was nowhere near Terrell Owens. You know what I'm saying? His peak, it's nowhere near some of the greatest to ever play the game. Now, don't get me wrong. You say, oh, he got better numbers than some guys that was in before, but you got to think the Hall of Fame been around a long time. Art Monk and those dudes, they quit playing in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? Like, they quit playing in the 80s. Yeah, he was a winner. But if it was just about winning, if it was just about winning, go to the NBA. Robert Horry would be in the Hall of Fame. If it was just about winning, so he got 7 of them things, and we ain't talking about him being Hall of Fame. I'm just saying, like, it's different measures, especially football.
Do you think that the 100 receiving touchdowns mark gets you automatic Hall of Fame status?
Somewhere around there should get you close to that. It should get you close. Yeah,
so
because
that would mean potentially Devontae Adams and Michael Evans are potential Hall of Famers. They're both 10 touchdowns short of 100.
Michael Evans is an automatic Hall of Famer to me. He's a
1,000-yard receiver for every
year,
league, right? Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That's Hall of Fame. That's Hall of Fame stuff right there. You feel what I'm saying? Like, he keep that streak going another year or two, whatever. He keep that streak going. Automatic Hall of Fame. Nobody's done it, right? Nobody's done it that consistent. That's Hall of Fame worthy. But the rest of these guys' resumes, can you compare that to them? No, you can't. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. I thought the Hall of Fame was about doing special stuff like that. Mike Evans is an automatic Hall of Fame bid. That's a good point that you bring up right there. Like, this guy, you watching what Hall of Fame is. You know what I mean? No matter how many championships he got, even if he didn't have a championship, what he's doing, that's Hall of Fame. That's Hall of Fame. Nobody's done it before. Like, those things got to count. Those measures got to count for something. You know what I mean?
Michael Evans currently has 737 receptions, 11,275 yards, 90 touchdowns.
Right. And what year is this? Like his 10th year, 9th year, whatever? But he got like 9 years. Huh?
He's been in since I just seen it. It spans from his career spans from
I'm like, that's special.
2014, 9 years. 2004. 10 years. Yeah. 2004. No, 9. 14 to 23 right now.
Yeah. So you going 9 straight years of 1,000-yard receiver.
Potentially can break the 100 career touchdowns this year.
And I'm liking. If that's not Hall of Fame, like I said, what is that? See, those are the measures right there, people. Like, something special.
And him and Devontae Adams in the same draft class. I didn't realize that.
Right. And
Devontae Adams, 838, 10,000 receiving yards, 91 touchdowns.
I think Devontae Adams is going to be Hall of Fame. He's going to be Hall of Fame. Like, he's not doing it the way Mike Evans doing it, but he's still doing it. You know what I mean? Like, but see, it's not just about, but how are you affecting the game winning wise when half these dudes on the list didn't win nothing. You know what I mean? Like, so it's kind of hard to say how you affect winning when half of them ain't, you know what I'm saying? Like, and if you went by those measures if you went by impact of winning, then certain players would be automatic on there. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it was about impact of winning, then yeah, Hines Ward should have been in their first ballot. You know what I'm saying? Because I seen the guy's effort. The guy goes all out. The guy plays, but he just didn't do enough spectacular things to be Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame is supposed to be an honor. It's supposed to be the greatest. That's why you got Lawrence Taylor in there. You know what I'm saying? You got Reggie White. You know what I'm saying? Like these Reggie White, sack master. You know what I'm saying? Look how fast how fast Reggie White got to 100 sacks in his career. He didn't play as long as Bruce Smith did to get 200 sacks. You know what I'm saying? Like Reggie White's career was short. What I'm saying is that his impact on the game was great. Like certain players, like the Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis is one of the greatest linebackers ever. You know what I mean? But you want to put what was his name? You wouldn't want to put Teddy Bruschi in the Hall of Fame, even though he got more championships than Ray. You know what I'm saying? Like, you feel what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah, I got you.
I mean, you feel what I'm saying? Bruschi got more championships than Ray, does he not? You know what I'm saying? Like Ray got 2 of them things. Bruschi got what, 3, whatever. But what I'm saying is yeah, man, you got to measure by what greatness, what did you provide to the game? So sometimes it does come down to numbers. I mean, numbers should be one of the biggest things that you measure a Hall of Fame player by, because at the end, because if it wasn't for that, then how else you get in? It's like, how do you pick offensive linemen for the Hall of Fame if it's not about, hey, they didn't give up as many sacks as this you know what I'm saying? Like why is Trent Williams Hall of Fame? We talking him Hall of Fame, but what's his name?
He's one of the most dominant offensive linemen in the league right now.
Right, we talking him Hall of Fame, but we ain't talking. Go to my Dallas Cowboy. We ain't talking Tyron Smith. You know what I'm saying? Like they always said he on the bubble. He could be potentially. Tyron Smith been playing a long time. You ain't there yet. You ain't gonna make it. You feel what I'm saying? But we see what Trent Williams does on both teams that I've seen him play on. I think he played on 2 teams. He was with the Commanders. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So speaking numbers, that means Jared Allen, Dwight Freeney, and Devin Hester should be able to walk in with no problem.
I thought Devin Hester should have been in. Like, wasn't he on the ballot last year?
Why?
Wasn't he on the ballot? Wasn't he on the ballot last year?
Yeah, he's a second.
I mean, as a return man, he should be in, and this is why. See, this is what I'm saying. When he retired, when he retired,
the only thing that should be in the Hall of Fame for Devin Hester is him. He shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, but he should be in the Hall specifically for, you know what I'm saying? I'm very sure his uniform, his football, and all that for that record breaking should be there. That's all. Just like
he broke a record. When he retired, Trey, he had the record. When he retired, he had the return record. I mean, what are you?
So you're telling me that Teron Brand should be in the Hall of Fame if he's still exactly. Teron Brand,
Cordell Patterson, the best return man in the game right now, should be in the Hall of Fame when he retired. Because he gonna be the best return man. You know, he passed Hester, so yeah, Hester should be in there, and then Cordell Patterson should be in there when he wrap it up when he's done, man, because he already passed Hester. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying.
Oh. That's like I was saying, Jerron Bland. So with that mindset, Jerron Bland, your cowboy cornerback should go in the league for having the most return pick sixes.
No, that's one season. That's one season.
Okay. But it's going to be a record that's going to stand for the test of time.
But Devin Hester did this over a career. What I'm saying is when he retired, he had the record. He was the best return man when he retired. At the time he retired, so he should be in. Because now Cordell Patterson is passing.
Don't you say Cordell Patterson's name no more. So are you saying that Cordell Patterson? I was like, okay, if we did not
as a return man,
if Cordell Patterson didn't have the record for the returns, would we know who Cordell Patterson was?
No, but that's what makes it special. That's what's Hall of Fame. Like his number, man. Come on, man. You can't be the best at something. You can't leave the game as the best at something, and then he gonna be the best return man ever in terms of touchdown returns, and probably yardage. I'm pretty sure he blew all that stuff out of the water already. Cordell Patterson, and he's still playing. And he's still playing.
So now what we're saying is that Cordell Patterson and Justin Tucker should be added to the conversation of Hall of Famers waiting to get into the Hall of Fame right now. That's still playing.
Right. Justin Tucker definitely. Cordell Patterson. I mean, just from a return, that's a part of the game. That's a part of the game. And Tucker is automatically in. I'm just saying, Cordell Patterson, he should be in, because man, he destroying the record books with what he's doing right now. You know what I'm saying? Like as a return man, you know what I'm saying?
But even Devin Hester ain't made it yet. So why is Cordell Patterson? So what you're saying is,
and that's the problem. Hester should have been in.
If Devin Hester is on the cusp of getting in, then Cordell Patterson, when he serves his 5 years, should be on the same cusp within the next 5 years.
Right.
So from basically what you're saying, because expectantly Devin Hester is probably going to make it in at some point. So what we're saying is, from the point in which Cordell Patterson decides to hang him up, within those 10 years, he should be a Hall of Famer for being electrifying and being the kick return, the top of the kick return at this point.
Right. Because look at this. Why is Calvin Johnson in the Hall of Fame?
I don't know. I swear.
Why is Calvin Johnson in
the That's
because he was the best. Because he was the best at the time. He was one of the best at the time that he retired, and his numbers prove it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, his numbers prove it. Period.
He should not be in
the Hall of Fame. It's not about the length of how much you play. It's what you did in that. But he was destroying record books. I mean, who got more 200-yard games than? When you ever seen receivers before Calvin Johnson, how many receivers had 200-yard games besides Jerry Rice having like one or two? Shannon Sharp had like a 200-yard as a tight end. But other than that, who was doing that? This man had almost 350 yards against my Dallas Cowboys in one game. Who's done that? I mean, I'm just saying his body of work was different, extraordinary. That's why Calvin Johnson is in. You know what I'm saying? Like.
I mean, it's hard to sit here and be saying my claim to fame is I did 22 years in the Army and retired, and I'm here to talk about it healthy and all that type of stuff. But I still relinquish. I have to one day I need to sit down and do my homework, because no hate, Calvin Johnson's Hall of Fame. He's in the Hall of Fame. People who have more accreditation than I do justify Calvin Johnson being in the Hall of Fame. So at this point, it's just asinine that we're just talking at this point.
And I brought him up because that like the whole numbers thing, right? You should have had the numbers and impact on the game or whatever, right? I mean, the dude never was. He was first of all, he played in Detroit. They was never winners. Let's just face it. Let's just be real with that, right?
The whole time.
But what he was doing, as far as individually, man, it was unheard of. And then he cut his career. Did he cut his career short? You know what I'm saying?
But then I look and see like Calvin Johnson. You said something to spark me. Calvin Johnson got into the Hall of Fame with numbers, right? No championships whatsoever. So that means Matthew Stafford is another one to be added to the list of potential Hall of Fame.
No, come on, man.
Why not? Matthew Stafford is a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and all them numbers in which Calvin Johnson has was given to him by Matthew Stafford. It got to be why they go head to head.
Okay, because here's the difference. Now you're talking quarterbacks. Where is Matthew Stafford going to wrap up when he's done, when he's said and done? Is his numbers going to be up there with the greats, the Brett Favres, the Marinos, the Bradys, the Breezes? Is his numbers going to be up there? Because if his numbers are up there, then yeah, he deserve it.
So let's
You
keep
feel
in
what I'm
mind.
saying? Quarterbacks are different. Like quarterbacks are different.
I'm gonna look it up to make sure that we're along the line. But let's keep in mind, Matthew Stafford used to be the gunslinger. He was that person
Right.
putting up 4,000 to 5,000, yards a year.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying? Like, so the numbers in which Calvin Johnson has was on the end, was given to him. He was on the back end of those passes from Matt Stafford. I think that's one person I can say. Tucker, without a doubt. I get it. But I think Matthew Stafford, when it's all said and done, he's going. I think that Super Bowl solidified him as a Hall of Famer. I think he's going to be in. I don't know first ballot. He might be first ballot.
Saying, Matthew Stafford, is he like how far along is he in his career? Is he close to 50,000 yards yet? Is he over that hump? You know, like what the greats have done? Because
he was.
Because I think Manning, Breeze, and Brady, those dudes changed the game as far as the yards and the measures of the quarterbacks, man. Like
Matthew Stafford is, he has 346 touchdowns, 178 interceptions, 54,571 passing yards, a Super Bowl champion, a Pro Bowl champion. A Pro Bowl. He's been to one Pro Bowl, one Super Bowl championship, and the AP Comeback Player of the Year.
He gonna be in because see, he already eclipsed that 50,000 mark, and he gonna probably play another 2-3 years or whatever.
And, when he gets in, he's probably gonna be a first ballot, depending on who else is coming out with him.
So Matthew Stafford got the numbers, you know, but. It's not just because he won one Super Bowl. It's because he got the numbers to support the stand up against.
It solidified it. I think it solidified. I think the Super Bowl solidified it because he had the numbers. If I look at it, like, I get what you're saying, quarterbacks are different, but when we look at how when Calvin Johnson got in, it wasn't like Calvin Johnson was catching those balls from any other quarterback. They was all predominantly from Matthew Stafford. So if Calvin Johnson is in, then Matthew Stafford was guaranteed to be in. Just no different from if Jerry Rice was in, it was clear and concise that Steve Young and Joe Montana was going to get in. Although
Joe Montana was going in anyway, like with or without Rice. That's just Joe Montana was just that good, but Jerry Rice was. But then Steve Young was a different measure because he came at a different point. But you got a point. But Steve Young belongs in the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah, he does. He was
at the time he retired. He was one of the best. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. That's why you can't Patterson gonna be the best returner. He already the best returner ever. He deserves a look, and he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Like. If not, then what he playing the game for? I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, as far as legendary status, like some of these players, it's like, I hate to say it, man, but when you look at like the NBA, come on, man. Everybody want Draymond Green to be in the Hall of Fame just because he was on a 4 championship team. He ain't got no numbers. His numbers ain't nowhere close. His rebound numbers ain't nowhere close to a Dennis Rodman's. It ain't nowhere close to a Charles Barkley, all the great rebounders of the game. It's nowhere close. Now, if Draymond at his age can figure out a way to win. Now, if Draymond wins another Defensive Player of the Year, Trey, then I say, yeah, man, he might be Hall of Fame because that'll give him, 4 or 5 of those things? Mm-hmm. I mean, got to be impressive. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I know it's frozen. I'm trying to sit up and get it back. Okay, there we go. Because I was like, I'm very sure they're going to be in the comments right now. Maurice Powell said, I'm joking. Stafford has some work to do. Maurice, no, before he has a legit shot of getting in. The Super Bowl is a big, but only one Pro Bowl. True. When I seen that, it kind of gave me pause. But he's got the numbers.
But here's the problem with the Pro Bowls, though. You got to think of who was the quarterbacks in his man. Like sometimes the Pro Bowl vote, what I'm saying? It's going. Those things was going to Manning. Those things was going to, you know what I'm saying? Like they going to Brady. They going to the other quarterbacks. They going to Aaron Rodgers. They going to Aaron Rodgers. You played in the same. You played in the same conference as Aaron Rodgers. Shit, Aaron Rodgers going. You know what I'm saying?
Just like he said, like Nate said, he missed out on Pro Bowls with 4,500 yards and 40 touchdown seasons. Like at one point, that was him consistently. And it's so you know what I'm saying, definitely I can understand that, but I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. As much as I hate to say it, that part I do foresee being a part of it.
I agree
So
with Matthew Stafford, but
yeah, so you know what I'm saying, but we'll see. Of course, like I said, by sometime in the year we'll see. Of course, I would want Patrick Willis to get in. I think he did a immense amount of work for the time in which he played before he decided to retire. But we'll see when it all comes out. But of course, in the in-state, I believe Julius Peppers gets in, and of course, Gates gets in as well. That's without a doubt. So transition real quick to NFL. I mean, in the NBA, the tournament. What do you think of the tournament so far? Are you not entertained? Oh, hold on. Let me see what Mari said. Excuse me. Which is why he's getting in, and let's keep it 100. Who doesn't throw over 4,000 yards in today's game? The numbers are inflated. So today's game, yes, but remember he was doing that back when, like
he was doing that back when, like before the inflated numbers and all that.
You had Suggs and Ray Lewis and then Troy Polamalu and stuff like that. Ed Reed, like he was doing it back then. So, but I get what you're saying, Marvin. So, of course, with the inflation of the game, like you just stated, that's going to even more so when you look at it. If the same people look at it, he was doing those numbers back when it wasn't the easiest. So, he's definitely getting in.
Yeah.
But yeah, so are you not entertained, Cornelius, with the in-tournament in-season tournament?
I still don't totally understand it. Like it looked like why is the Magic they missed it? I mean I didn't.
So point differentials.
I didn't get that.
Point differentials. That was the end state of it. The point differentials. So catching the hills. So the
record don't matter. Is the point?
So the record, Matt. So the record. That's why it was so within the parameters of what they was doing. They had a record, but someone else in there tied with them had the same record,
right?
But they also when you broke down the points for, points against, the march, because you can't judge off because everyone played the same amount of people. So the only way to determine what it was, because we played the same people, is what was my point differential. So that's why Orlando didn't get in, because they had their point differential was more than what who's the wild card what's called his point differential was, or whatever case like it. So that's why they didn't get in. But because hence the reason, like when you think about it, hence the reason why Boston kept their players in, their starters in the whole game when Chicago took their starters out, because Boston needed to score a certain amount of points to stay ahead. So you know what I'm saying. So when last night Drew Holiday was there, he talked about it. He was like, "Hey, it's kind of funny because he's like, basically they smacked up Boston, they smacked up on Chicago by like 30-some points, 40-some points, but they needed those points because of the situation with the tournament. So because when you look at it, like LA doesn't have, like Boston and Milwaukee are the best teams in the league, but they both almost missed the tournament because of the play. The Lakers and the Pacers were the number one seeds in the tournament.
Which kind of surprised you, right? With the Lakers being like 10-8 or whatever their record is.
Yeah. So but they within their pool, they were the top team against Phoenix, against Golden State, against was it San Antonio and maybe Portland. I can't remember who their pool was exactly, but within that pool, they were the top team. They went
Sacramento, right? Sacramento.
They might have been Sacramento because they might have been they, like you said, they might have went LA went undefeated in that pool. So they didn't lose a game, or they didn't lose those games that was designated as tournament games. They didn't lose those games. So now they puts them in position to where the Lakers will play the Suns in the first round on the 5th. On the 4th,
Mm-hmm.
the Kings will play the Pelicans. The winner of both those games will go on to the semifinal game. And then, of course, the winner of that game goes to the championship game. So representing the West is going to either be the Lakers, the Suns, the Kings, or the Pelicans. And on the East is going to be the Bucks, Knicks, Pacers, and Celtics, in which the Pacers and Celtics play on the 4th, and the Bucks and New York Knicks play on the 5th, and then they
Okay,
go from there.
so here it is with me as far as trying to understand the whole tournament aspect. So LeBron James gonna win this tournament.
Is
This
the
is my.
script is written? Are you saying the script is written? That's what you're saying?
I'm saying LeBron James gonna win this tournament. I'm saying. I'm just saying the first tournament, in-season tournament ever. People can write it down. You can mark it down. LeBron James is gonna win that tournament. They ain't even got to play the games. To be honest, it's a done deal. The Lakers are gonna win that tournament.
The script has already been written.
Pretty much. Nah. But for real, man, they've brought some excitement, and I think the players obviously the players like cash because they going all out for this cash. They're going all out. Like teams themselves are going all out for the cash. You know what I mean? And I wonder if each team, the players sat down or with and said, hey, you know what? Because it's helped the game because there's not as much load management so far. So I'm wondering all I'm wondering is when the tournament is over, are they gonna go back to the previous years of the load management and all this other stuff? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, are they gonna go back to that stuff once the tournament is over? Once they're not playing for the money? Because that'll be sad to see because the NBA has been better this year. Like all the way across the board, the efforts have been better. You still see some high scores. But last year was a record-setting year for scores. Now you're seeing teams playing defense in certain situations. So you're seeing better play from some of these teams, especially teams that you didn't expect. Like, I was kind of disappointed as far as, like, for me, like, I would have liked to see the young Magic, what they had against, like, like the Bucks or something. You know what I mean? Like in a quote-unquote meaningful game. You know what I'm saying? Just to see maybe what it'll look like if they run into them in the playoffs or something. You know what I mean? Like, we know the Lakers and 9 times out of 10, Phoenix, they're going to be around, you know what I'm saying, the playoff picture in some way, shape, or form. As long as those teams stay healthy, we know they're going to be in that Western Conference picture. So we don't really need to see that because we know that that's going to probably happen, right? But I like the fact that the Knicks get a chance to do something, like, because the Knicks ain't done nothing relevant in a long time. You know what I mean? Other than just make the playoffs. But I'm saying, like, I think that tournament gonna bring some excitement to the league, man. And certain people I'm pulling for. Like, I'm not really worried about the Bucks or the Celtics because we already know what they ultimately playing for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we know what they playing for.
Yeah. So two things before we get up out of here, which is very short, is going to be a little extension. First and foremost, like you just said, Boston and Milwaukee currently are 1-2 in the Eastern Conference, regardless of tournaments and all that type of stuff. They're 1-2. Like you said, we know what they're playing for. They're playing for June in state. On the opposite side of the spectrum, the Lakers, before I mentioned Lakers, are just a game out of currently the 6th spot, which is interesting. I mean, given what they got and stuff like that and how they've been smacked a couple of times, Philadelphia just ran through them by 44 points just the other night. But they're just on the cusp of being a team that doesn't have to worry about the play-in at the end of the year. Golden State is currently in the 10th spot. The Clippers are outside of Golden State in the 11th spot. Of course, as we expected, Memphis was going to be where they are. They're currently number 14 in the league. They're second to last, and then San Antonio is last in the Western Conference. But surprisingly enough, the Minnesota Timberwolves are a game and a half ahead of the defending NBA champion Denver Nuggets. Is it too early to assume that this is going to be the outcome?
Yeah, it's too early.
Okay, 17 games too early. 18 games too early.
Yeah, it's too early. I think Minnesota go finish. They'll probably be somewhere second or third. I think the Nuggets, when they get healthy, the Nuggets not healthy right now. So, once they get healthy, they'll like the Nuggets. The Nuggets will probably be the number one seed, or Minnesota could probably hold that spot because I don't really see any other teams that's gonna come out of like nowhere to take it from them. But I do see the horse. I used to play dominoes, and they used to always say a horse that run fast don't run long. So you know what I'm saying. So I don't really think it's about seeding to teams like Denver. They just like teams like Denver and the Lakers. They just want to get in. You know what I mean? Like, it means the world to Minnesota to have home court throughout the playoffs or something like that. That'll be something, first and foremost, make the playoffs like straight in. Don't have to worry about a play-in. That stuff means stuff to teams like that. But teams that's chasing the championship, they don't really care. They just like, man, we got to just get in. You know what I'm saying? Like, the most important thing is just getting in. It don't matter what seed you are. You saw that from the Miami Heat. The Heat could show you could be anywhere on the list and you could still get in and make it to the championship. So if you're a championship caliber team, it don't really matter. But like Sacramento, it's important for them to be third or fourth seed or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's important for a lot of them teams to do that. But and I told you about the Warriors already. I told you that wasn't going to work. People don't like to, people don't like to admit certain things. But the truth of the matter is they made a mistake by bringing Chris Paul in. I don't see him giving them an advantage. They don't even look good. They don't look good. Like, Chris Paul is not helping. They didn't need a Chris Paul. I mean, seriously, they didn't need it. You just got another old dude to go with other old dudes. You needed somebody young. Seriously, you needed somebody young. Like, the problem is the Golden State Warriors. They're gonna probably be 1 through 10, right? Mm-hmm. But they on the potential of going home, like being done in the play-in versus being a 1 through 6 team. If they would have, I'm not saying keep Jordan Poole. I'm saying trade him for somebody younger. Here's the thing that I look at. I don't know if they could have made this trade work, but instead of getting a Chris Paul, why not go after Kuzma? I think Kuzma helped your team more than, you know what I'm saying? A proven guy that can score in the league, a champion, younger legs, fresher, can shoot the three. He can do everything that the Warriors do. You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
I think they was looking for more of a floor general in Chris Paul. And so even though I think they was taking consideration his abilities in the past and to be a wily veteran, the veteran leadership and experience is what they was more so looking on. Like you just said, true enough, the core is getting older. I think Chris Paul was supposed to be supplemental to when Steph is out or something like that. And I think, so I think that was what that was the mindset probably going to bring him in, or it could have just been like they didn't want anyone else to get him in the West, to where he could have been a thorn in their side. So,
okay, so this is my thing. They lighten it. Okay, your point, like, I feel all that, but they got the players. I'm saying, like, you chasing a championship or you want another. You want 5. Steph wants 5. But Steph ain't going to be able to do it at the pace averaging 30 a night. He got to average 30 a night with Chris Paul. That's why I'm saying if you went younger, then, hey, Kuzma going to give you 25. He good for, you know what I'm saying? And then you get in his mind on a championship team. You seen what he did in the bubble with LeBron and them. You feel what I'm saying? Like, Kuzma was that guy. Like, impressive. Like, you need that young, some young legs that can go. Kuzma can play 35, 40 minutes a night. You know what I'm saying? Klay Thompson can't give you that no more. Chris Paul can't give you that. Like, if Chris Paul playing 35 minutes, you in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Your team is in trouble already if he got to play extended minutes. So that's what it's like. And then Chris Paul is not a winner. Sorry. I thought it was about winning in Golden State, and then they made that move. But it's sad to say it. Chris Paul is not a winner. I mean, like for real. I mean, the guy's a good player. He gonna be a Hall of Fame player, but he's not a winner. Just because you're a floor, and I hate that myth that he's the greatest floor general. He's not. I seen better in my day. He's not a good floor. All the floor generals that I seen could carry. Man, they teams went somewhere. Like, to me, Magic Johnson is the greatest point guard to ever play. He went to 9 championships. That's floor general right there. That's, hey, everybody sharing the rock. We going places. Chris Paul been to the finals. Chris Paul been to the finals one time. Once. And we all know what happened there. We all know that it was a Kawhi knee away from not even that happening. You know what I'm saying? I mean, right. Like, LeBron James is not even a point guard, but he better than Chris Paul, in my opinion. Chris Paul ain't, man, everybody be talking about, oh, he's a great floor general. He went to the OKC Thunder. He made those young dudes, they looked all right. But where did they go overall? Where did they end up?
So
he was in Houston.
What I'm hearing here is if Chris Paul would have teamed up with Kobe Bryant, that they would that he wouldn't be a champion. He wouldn't have been enough.
No. This is why. Go back to that time period. Kobe would have been carrying the load himself because Chris Paul was constantly hurt. He was never there in meaningful playoff situations. Year after year, he was hurt. It would have been the same thing. It just would have been with the Laker uniform on. You know what I'm saying? Like, his career has been his career, Trey.
You don't think Chris Paul, Kobe Bryant, and Dwight Howard could have brought a championship to LA?
No. Because, like I said, Chris Paul wouldn't have been around to do anything. And then Kobe got frustrated with Dwight Howard. He would have been so frustrated with that guy, with Chris Paul, that, you know, you gotta think at that time it was it ended up being Kobe, Dwight, and Powell, and the disgruntled Lamar, who ended up getting traded. Well, you know, like,
I think that what I will say, that trade conversation messed up the Lakers in general because it caused a rift in the team because
let me tell
those
you,
players.
What's his name? Jim Buss or whatever. Dr. Buss' son messed up the Lakers. You want to know why? He ran Phil out the building. He ran Phil out the building, and look where that team went after Phil Jackson left. It was dysfunction for a long period of time. You ran Phil Jackson out of the building. That's where all your problems started. Kobe ain't won a championship without Phil Jackson. Lamar Odom life went down. His quality of life went down without Phil Jackson. You know what I'm saying? I mean, for real, you ran Phil Jackson out of the building. That was dumb. That was the dumbest move the Lakers ever made. You could have got with Powell. If Phil Jackson was the coach of the Dwight Howard situation with Kobe and that, they win. Without a Chris Paul, they win. No doubt in my mind, they win. You know what I'm saying? But they had like Mike Brown or somebody. I don't know who the coach was when they made those moves, but they tried Luke Walton.
A couple.
Yeah, they tried. What I'm saying is if they would have kept Phil Jackson, that's the worst move the Lakers ever made. Was Jim Buss getting in control and putting that guy on? You know what I'm saying? Right.
Him and Mitch Kupchak.
And it messed Phil up also, right? Because Phil went and tried to Remember when Phil went to New York and tried to run? He didn't coach though. He didn't coach. He tried to run VP operations or whatever.
He did, but what he did, he brought Derek Fisher in to run the triangle.
Yeah, but he was up in the like he was executive or whatever.
Yeah,
he was trying to do the Pat Riley thing, right?
Yeah.
But Phil would have coached the Lakers to a championship, man. Like, period. You got rid of the guy. Kobe never won with another coach. Kobe didn't win without Phil. Remember, they got rid of Phil the first time because Kobe said, I can do this on my own. They got rid of Phil and Shaq, and then they had to beg Phil to come back. It was like, come back, Phil. You know what I'm saying? Kobe couldn't win. All I'm saying is that you messed up the championship formula. Phil Jackson was your championship formula alongside Kobe Bryant. Period. That was it. And you messed that up. You messed up your chance to win championships because you're trying to prove. I think Jim Buss was just trying to prove who he was. You know what I mean?
He was trying to be like he's trying to prove that he could do it like his daddy.
Right. And I think that hurt in the long run, and it took them a long time to recover for that. But and before we get out of here, not just the Lakers, not just that situation with Chris Paul. I don't mean to make it seem like Chris Paul not a good player. He's a good player, but a good player is not a great player. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
okay,
he's just not. He's not a great
Chris
player
Paul,
to me. That's just my opinion.
Chris Paul's Hall of Fame. Chris Paul.
Because his assist numbers are crazy. He gonna be Hall of Fame. He gonna be Hall of Fame for sure. Nobody got his he already top 6 or 7 in assists.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. He already up there. So yeah, I like that aspect of his game, but I'm just saying he not up there with the greats in my opinion. This is my opinion. I've seen better. Like in my opinion, John Stockton was better. John Stockton was better. Because John Stockton, we know the eras was a little different, but John Stockton really did what he was doing with take Karl Malone off those teams. What talent did Utah ever freaking have? You know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't really have talent. Like, Utah didn't really have, outside of Karl Malone and John Stockton, you take those two off the team, who else was on Utah that I mean,
Chambers,
I think
Hornacek.
Hornacek was decent, right? Hornacek was decent, but I'm just saying, really, truly, who did they have? Like, and I want to put this out there before we get out of here, because sometimes we as older people, we look at things different. Like, next time we talk, I want to talk about some of these young players that are taking over this game right now, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? The Bancheros, the Gilgeous Alexander, what's my guy? De'Aaron Fox, the Tyrese Halliburtons, man. Those dudes got next. And they come in real fast right now. If Giannis and Tatum and those dudes and Butler and those dudes, if they want championships, they better get them right now within the next 2-3 years, because in a minute, it's gonna be too late. It's gonna be too late. Like Giannis, it's gonna be too late.
Maybe we could. Maybe we could have that conversation on Monday, and we'll sit up and see about if I can get someone else's on. I'll look at that. So maybe that could be a conversation Monday, strictly after we go through some NFL stuff as we get ready for the NFL week, and then go just have a conversation about the NBA and the young versus new. So maybe that'd be something. So get your popcorn and get all your points, so you can sit up and we can have that conversation. So now, before we get up out of here, right? I wanted to ask your particular opinion and question on the Josh Giddey situation. Should Josh Giddey be suspended right now?
Only because it's a distraction for the team. That's the only reason I would, if as an organization, I wouldn't do the NBA suspending them, but as an organization, I would say, hey man, we're gonna sit you down. We're gonna sit you down right now. We're gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like, take some time away from the team, get your life in order, or whatever. But that can go both ways. Like, maybe they have had that conversation with him already, and it's like maybe they decide the best thing is for him to keep playing or whatever. But I'm not sure if I really understand the whole ramifications of. I get it's supposed to be a younger lady, but I don't know how much younger, because
Josh Giddey's 21. The young lady is 15 or 16. But in the state of Oklahoma,
but that's what I'm saying. It's Oklahoma, right?
Yeah,
I used to live there, so
yeah, legal age is 16.
Right, I used to live there, so that's what I'm saying. Was she 16 or what? Because is it within 16, a certain parameters, right? It's sort of like if he's 21 and she's 16, then it's not a problem. But if he's 26 and she's 16, I think that's a problem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so I guess they're going with statutory rape charges or looking at it. Right now, it's being investigated. And initially, it was saying that it wasn't a problem, of course, with all the hoopla, everything. Currently, the police are looking into allegations against it, in which is they're starting to open an investigation in reference to it. So they're looking at, saying this is what the police from California are looking into it, but trying to determine who has jurisdiction over it, whether it's the California or Oklahoma. Like I said, in California, the legal age is 18. In Oklahoma, the legal age is 16. Josh Giddey is 21. So, but some of the things in which you see, of course, opposite of the legal aspect of it or the civil aspect of it within the within the NBA, there's starting to be questions because they're like basically the vilification of Kyrie Irving in reference to his anti-Semitic Semitic outcomes, the outcome in which what's going on, Wooden? He said send him to jail. The outcome that they had with Jamal with Bridges with the allegations in his domestic violence situation. So basically, you're looking at all this stuff that has came up. Why isn't Josh the ideal? Is what I'm starting to see, like in the different stuff, is that is making it basically it's coming out to be a racial thing, saying that because Josh Giddey is white,
It's not
this
racist,
is why
man.
he's not.
It's not
Had he been
racist.
black, he would be suspended.
Before it was any action taken against, take the Kyrie situation. Before it was any action taken against Kyrie, they gave him several times to back down off his words, right? It's like they tried to work with him. He stood by his guns. So the outcome was the outcome, right? He lived with the outcome. Now, in this situation, like I said, the organization, I think it's more so on the organization trade than it is on the NBA right now to say, hey, man, sit down, because who took action first in the whole Kyrie thing? The organization, right? The Nets took action. You feel what I'm saying? And then after the Nets took action, that's when he went and talked to the Commissioner Silver or whatever. When after the Nets had already took action, you feel what I'm saying? So it's up to the organization to me.
He came back, and that's what Commissioner Silver levied, what the NBA levied, what they did.
Right, and I'm not defending this Josh Giddey's actions or nothing like that. All I'm saying is that the organization should be like, "Hey, sit down." You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, like I said, if nothing more than just a distraction until we figure this out, you know what I'm saying? You suspended until further notice, right? Like that happens quite a bit in the real world, right? But as far as the other situations, the Bridges situation, like they let his situation play out because when it first came out, they didn't take any action, but they let the charges be brought before and then they said, "Hey, we got to do this," right? Charges were brought. In this case, they still investigate. So the NBA, they gonna try to wait until they invest. Now, if it was the NFL, we already know what would have happened already. You know what I'm saying? But that's a different league. We know in the NFL, it would have been over. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah. I totally understand that, but like as they conducting the investigation, like I said, the organization, so it should be the Thunder. Everybody that's got a problem with it should be addressing the Thunder and not the NBA, because the NBA has been known to sit back and let teams take action. What happened with Draymond? You know what happened with Draymond when he punched Jordan Poole? The league didn't suspend him. It was the Warriors. You feel what I'm saying? The Warriors said, step away from the team and get yourself right or whatever. You know, take certain actions. So I think that the lack of the OKC Thunder doing anything is puzzling. You know what I mean? Like why they waiting?
Because I think based upon the civil aspect of the laws and all that type of stuff, they feel like there wasn't nothing done. But of course, like I said, the girl at the time was considered to be in high school, a junior in high school. As we say, Josh Giddey is 21 years old. So I mean, it's going to come out like, but that's what a lot of it was, in which I was wondering. I wonder what's what's the temperature of everyone else when they look at it. And of course, usually just like anything else, race when there's different races that are involved, it usually comes into play. But then I also have to take in consideration and really think about it. If he was African American or anything else, would he be asked to sit down, or was he, or is, like you said, is it just because of the organization where Oklahoma, where it's presumably legal of stature, is that why nothing has been taken forth? Or should it just be just for GP? Should the Oklahoma City Thunder be sitting him down for the sake of public opinion and from a public affairs standpoint, to where we're gonna go ahead and sit him down while we let due diligence based on that for the company. But you got to take into consideration, OKC is one of the hottest young teams in the league right now. So doing that, does that take away? Because right now, saying not to sit up and bring in his numbers as a reason for justification, but right now, Josh Giddey, since the allegations hit, he's he's averaging 12.6 rebounds and 5 assists. You know what I'm saying? To an 11-6 record.
So let's go to your favorite organization, the Lakers, right?
Uh-huh.
Kobe was on trial. They never sat him down. Kobe was going through a whole trial.
True
that. In and out. They never suspended him. They never did nothing. And he had rape allegations on him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like those were rape allegations. Like, I mean, they never. I'm just saying.
The temperature is different from when Kobe went through it than it is now with the meat with it's different. It's because you got to think about that was over 30 years ago.
30 years ago, man.
Yeah. Well,
that was 20 years ago.
It was over 20 years ago.
2004, 2000, whatever. There was a year that they went to the. When did they go to the championship against the Pistons? It was around that time, that season.
So they was So they were It was that was a different time. And when it comes
I get it. It was 20 years ago.
So
what I'm saying is that they didn't sit him down. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, that's what I'm saying, because
he was able to go to court, come in, and still hoop.
Yeah, the sensitivity was different then. Now, if you went and remotely did that in any case nowadays, you're gonna face a lot of people because the organizations and the nonprofits that are big on people and all that type of stuff.
My point is, when you use the whole black and white argument and stuff, like Kobe was black, and you know what I'm saying, one of the best players on the planet. Do you feel what I'm saying? And he was allowed to play. And going from there, I mean, 20 years ago or not, going from there, that was like one of the major cases of the NBA.
I don't think now. I think if it was now, if that was the same situation and everything now, Kobe, the Laker organization would set Kobe down.
They would sit him down. Now that's what I was going to ask you. Do you think if Giddey was on the Warriors or the Knicks or any other team other than OKC, do you think he would be sitting down?
Yeah.
Exactly. I think it's just an OKC Thunder thing. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like that's the way I feel about it. I feel like if he was anywhere else, if he was in LA, any one of the teams in LA, he would be sitting down. Sacramento Kings sitting down. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
well, because it's in California. And California is 18. So yeah. So now if he was,
you know, anywhere else he's sitting down. I'm just saying it's just that organization. It's the organization that's not taking action swift enough for the people, because you know how it is in our climate today. Is now it's like, get them out of there, right? Like, you see your man on here said send them straight to jail, and no facts have been proven yet. Like, it's just all allegations right now. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, whoa, throw him under the jail. It's like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? Whoa, let the process play. But like how you see how Swift, the Big Ten took care of Michigan. They made a decision and they set Harbaugh out. That's what OKC should be doing to their own organization, to their own player right now. Is the organization step up, man? Other than that, Giddey, if he did do this, man, that's a bad. You know, like, I don't know how you got into that situation, but man.
So I think also becomes in play is the legal aspect of it. When you look at it, like, they don't want to be too swift to sit up and punish for something and then come back, and now they don't have anything else to punish for. But I think it's a little bit different with the NBA, because the NBA has their standards agreements to which the players have to abide by. And so if they can make it fit, then they can make it be like, okay, we're suspending you for a violation of our of this policy, which is different from the code of conduct policy, as opposed to him being sat down due to other ramifications with the OKC. So I mean, it kind of like speaks to different, because we think about it. Same thing. They brung up the point in with John Morant is like, oh, when he was going through his situation, they was quick. So I mean, it's gonna all come out in state. Like we'll see.
The last thing I want to say on this subject, man, as far as like people, I'm black like everybody else that feel certain ways about different stuff, but you can't compare the John Morant situation. They gave before they did anything to John Morant, they gave him chance after chance. Before they did anything, they gave John Morant chance after chance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think the nature of this is more serious than for me, teams gotta figure that out. Everybody know what's going on, the stuff swirling. Like even if you was to say, hey, you know what, we go put him on the practice squad, but we go sit him down. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
that's as we were saying. He's being allowed because in Oklahoma he didn't break the law, but currently California is looking at who has jurisdiction over the situation. 18, however, she would have to cooperate with accusations. So yeah, she is not there for.
That's the part I don't get, Trey. Like I got to do more homework or whatever, because that's the part I don't get. It's like, where does the young lady live? What's her residence? Like it's like, is it California or Oklahoma? What's your residence? I mean, seriously, where are you from? Because I mean, I think that's more important.
That's,
like,
that's what they're investigating right now to find out who has jurisdiction over the case. So if it's just California, it happened is where it happened at. Hence the reason where California comes into play. So if in-state if California gets a hold of it and they have jurisdiction, then he's going to face charges because he's violating the law.
Well, it's trafficking against. Well, she from Oklahoma. What I'm saying is that is she from Cali or Oklahoma? Because if she from Oklahoma, then and she went to Cali with this guy or whatever, however they ended up in California, you know what I'm saying? However they ended up in California, then it's like, hey, he crossed state lines with him. In some states in between there, you cross state lines with a minor. All I'm saying is you went over the line, you went to California, you know what I'm saying? So the laws are different in each state.
Like all I'm saying, in-state, it comes down to what she's saying, and it's like in-state, you know what I'm saying, unless someone was recording, there was an anonymous post that brought it to the attention, and so now, you know what I'm saying, in-state, if she comes back and be like, nothing happened, like, you know what I'm saying, we took pictures, we did this, nothing happened, and then, you know what I'm saying, then that's it. So
but I just think as more information come out, we'll really realize, but I still say OKC needs to be swift. They need to sit him down until they figure it out. Like so many situations have been done, recently, man, where it's like, hey, we gotta get you away from the team for a little while. You know what I mean? Like they still pay him if they want to pay him, but I'm sure it's a way that they can say, hey, we're gonna reduce your role here, or we're gonna sit you. You know what I'm saying? Like they do it all the time, right? What is it? Detrimental to the team. They can come up with one of those and and set them down for just a little while until they figure this out, until something is decided, because we all go say it's not fair.
Yeah. So like you said, like Coach Wayne said, in-state is going to come down to what she says. So it'd be interesting to see how it continues to unfold, or what's going to happen, or if it's like you said, if there's anything in which the NBA can use to put it under. But if she's not, the fact is she is not cooperating. Tells you a lot. So
it does.
Yeah. So in any case, we are saying the plot will continue to thickens. That'll be our show for today. I mean, I very much want to see Cornelius, are you willing to come back on Friday so we can have that conversation that you were willing to have to go a little more in depth? Okay, so basically tap in on Friday. Definitely be on to talk about that. A little talk about some of the NFL before we get started, but then spend the majority of the show talking about what's coming up next, who's next, who got next, what the ramification is. Should the current prime players be looking over their shoulders for these kids that's coming up and they got next? And so that should be a good conversation. So we can hear that by that time frame. We should have a little more in reference to a closer course for the SHAPE IBT. That's the international basketball tournament that's going on, to see where Team USA's are currently within that time frame, because by then they should have already had the semis, because so we're talking about coming back on Friday, December 1st, to see how that's all going down. So that should be definitely a good show. I greatly appreciate Cornelius, the People's Coach, coming on and chopping it up with you this morning. Let's see who else we can get to have that conversation in reference to the basketball and be able to spread some love and put some information out there and cover some more of these stories. What you got going on? So, where can people find you, or what can they be looking out for?
You can be get ready to check me out. I'm starting my own. I'm just gonna do it myself and start my own YouTube channel.
Okay.
Not worry about the network, so it'll be Snook One Productions. Hashtag the Die Hard Fans Show. You'll find me there. Where it'll be more a shorter show, but more clips and more in detail, more in depth about the Die Hard fan situations on the current situations that's going on in all sports. And get ready to look out for that book, Karuin, coming out soon. Moments of Intimacy within the next month or so. I should have that book rolling out.
Okay.
Probably mid-January.
Okay, so we definitely be looking out for that. So definitely more conversation to be had. So yes, I look forward to Friday. I don't know if I might tap in tomorrow just to see, just to give a little 1-2 get on, but definitely Friday be pulling up. So look forward to that. Greatly appreciate those that were on today. Coach Walcott, glad to see you information with us. Jaquan, or Wooten, I'm sorry. Cam was good, you know what I'm saying? Maurice, Nate, or my man, brother ISO, TaylorMade, TT, glad as always, Leslie, and all the rest of y'all, all those that didn't speak, or were on. Good, look forward to y'all tap in. Bailey, Coach Richardson, of course, you know what I'm saying, out there, the USA, Team USA, Men's Team USA. Be sure to tap in if y'all can. We can cover. Always feel free to hit me up if you got some content that you think you would like to hear. I'm always up for it to hear what is to be said, or see what we can turn into, what we can see what we can turn water into wine. Until then, greatly appreciate y'all tapping in today. Look forward to seeing y'all. We up out of here. Peace. Enjoy your day.